Helicopter. Reports say the Buccaneers have signed offensive tackle Tristan Wirfs to a 5-year extension worth $140 million with about $88 million in guaranteed money.
It's time.
You know what time it is?
The game for Tuscaloosa's longest running sports show.
The biggest goal of our team,
especially in the first half,
we at Bama, we're trying to be the best. Always is to win a national championship.
Something cool to look back on.
We don't want to waste a failure.
You're inside the game.
John Mechie on the ground.
Appreciate your interest in the game.
On your home for Alabama sports.
Alabama wins.
Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota. And now, here's your award-winning host, Ryan Fowler.
And a big good afternoon to you. Welcome into the game. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide sports. We're going to be talking a lot of Alabama Crimson Tide football today. Kane Womack on the stage. And that is one of the topics of conversation that we will be around. We'll talk about what Kane said and how he said it. But another energized practice. Wyatt, we were out there, and that is one of the things that we'll dive about. We'll talk about it because the energy out there, the buzz, and now keep in mind, first couple of days, as Kalen DeBoer said yesterday, you really don't have to manufacture that, right? You do not have to say, hey, let me fire it up because it's kind of like the first day of class. I mean, you walk in with your pen and piece of paper, you're taking good notes, you're making sure you're setting up in the front row. You know, by day 4 or 5, you're starting to set in the back a little bit, kind of further way back a little bit, maybe not paying as much attention. That'll be one of the things that we'll dive into today. We'll talk to Rodney Orr. We'll talk to Nick Kelly. We're going to dive into maybe some expectations because, in your opinion, being out there, Wyatt, this would probably only apply to you, but being out there for the last couple of days, does it change your expectations? I know it's only 2 practices, but I still think talent, no doubt, is superior over everything. But the mental side of it, that also plays a role. If you've got it, you've got it. These guys are no doubt highly talented. But being out there the last couple of days, I mean, does it change your expectations? I mean, I'm not easily persuaded, but it is kind of, getting in that environment. You see a lot of things. I mean, you go out there and you're like, this is really a talented football team. This is not like, I've covered some bad football teams. I've covered some teams where they're having to flip different positions and move this guy to defensive lineman, this guy to offensive tackle. I remember Kyle Tatum. I mean, they moved him all over the field. This is a talented football team, and I think they may surprise some people. Did it change your expectations at all? No, it's only 2 practices.
It's 2 practices, sure, but, seeing the way these coaches interact, seeing the way these players work, and, it does change it a little bit. I think I'm more excited to cover this team than I even was, back in spring ball, even though that was, everything was still fresh. The freshmen, we were getting our first look at the freshmen. We were getting our first look at the coaches at Kalen DeBoer on the practice field. But I'm more excited now than I was even in the spring. I don't know if that's just because football's closer or what's going on, but no, I'm definitely more excited. The expectation is changing a little bit. I think it's rising a little bit as well. I think, especially out of groups that I've watched. I watched the receivers yesterday. I watched the DBs today.
Boy, stop at receiver. Man, that is a good-looking group. Like, that is, and I know that you can look at the metrics and you could say 65% of the production is no longer here, and that's fair. But also, I think when you look at the receiver room last year, because of Tommy Rees, this offense never got cranked up. Some of that was on because they were grooming a new quarterback, right? They were trying to get Jalen Milroe to point A to point B. But just being out there, and maybe we can flip it to you guys, okay? I mean, here we are. I mean, we are now 30 days away. Where do I want to go with 30 days away? Dustin McClintock. How about that? Dustin McClintock, great fullback at the University of Alabama. Dante Hightower is certainly a guy, but kind of want to go off the beaten path just a little bit. Dustin McClintock, great fullback at the University of Alabama. He blocked for some really good backs, including Mr. Sean Alexander. Thank you very much, Dustin McClintock. But 30 days, probably Dante Hightower. Dante Hightower is no doubt one of those guys that we kind of grabs us by a lot of different ways. So we'll dive into it today. But going back to the receiver unit, there's some dudes over there. I mean, there is some dudes. For one, I think a lot of quarterbacks, and that gets a lot of reps because the drop-off is – yeah, Jalen Milroe, no doubt, is number 1, right? It's QB1. Ty Simpson's right there on his heels. Then you've got the Austin Mack, Dylan Lonergan kind of debate, and that'll almost set up for what the quarterback competition will be in the spring, right? You're going to have probably 3 guys that are going to be battling for that job, and this time next year, hopefully there's not a quarterback settled, right? You say, okay, well, Ty Simpson probably could be the favorite if Jalen Milroe decides to go into the National Football League in 2025. If he has the season that we think he's capable of doing, then I think you back up and you say, but looking across those receivers. There's some dudes over there, man. There is some. It's fun to watch that group because they're also something that we've not been accustomed to. Is they have size too. I mean, you have some big guys. Caleb Odom is going to be a mismatch, and he is. There's a reason why he came in as a tight end because of his size, and there's a reason why he was moved to wide receiver because of his speed and the way that he moves. And then you supplement that with the veterans, Kendrick Law, which I know in the building they are high on him. They talked about his speed out in Dallas, so that'll be one of the things that we'll dive into coming up in a couple of minutes. We'll talk to Rodney Orr. We'll talk to Nick Kelly. We're always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com, 3325 Skyland Boulevard, and online at TuscaloosaToyota.com. The great dealership right there on Skyland Boulevard. Don't pay those high rental car prices. It is Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. We're 30 days away, brought to you by Alabama Credit Union. Practice number 2 on the campus of the University of Alabama. You're going to hear from Kane Wommack. He's the defensive coordinator at the University of Alabama. You're also going to hear from Mo Linguist. What an energized practice from him. Go over and watch him. Like when the Saban era was here, and I used to have my favorite coaches, I'd love to go watch Sal Censuri coach. He was explosive. He was high energy. Mo Linguist, Jamarcus Shepard could be my early 2 favorites. Just watching those guys, and both of them are one co-offensive coordinator, the other co-defensive coordinator. But Mo is a coach that brings the heat. One of the other things that I noticed today at practice, they want their linebackers to be able to cover in space out. I mean, everybody does. They don't want to be a liability. Did you see them rotating? They had 3 stations on the defensive field, and they would rotate. So they would rotate linebackers to a coverage area, safeties to a coverage area, corners to a coverage area, and they would do different things. And it was almost like they were rotating stations. They had 3 different stations set up, and so they would rotate the inside linebackers, boom, bam, corners, bam, safeties. I mean, it was just trying to be versatile. And, I think Kane's going to say a little bit later, you're going to be excited about some of the things that he says. Jaheim Otis gave us a big update there. I know there's been a lot of buzz around LT Overton not being at practice. Coach said that he had missed. He wasn't feeling very well, but nothing big, and that'll be he'll be out there very soon. So LT Overton's a guy that I think a lot of people have circled as can be that big time playmaker on the defensive side of the football. But that's another part with the defensive line. I've often said when you look at the defensive lineman, the unit is based on numbers. You got to have quality, but you've also got to have numbers. If you only have one quality guy and the other guys are just kind of average, then you're going to wear those guys out. But if you can get into a 6-7 rotation, you go back and you study some of the great defensive linemen around here to be able to have quality backups. That room is fairly deep, and we're waiting. We're waiting for Tim Smith. We've been waiting for several years. Maybe this is the year that everything clicks with him, and you can have that season. Because I did see, what was it? One of the awards, was it the Outland Trophy that had him on the list? I think Tim Smith was on. It was the Outland Trophy, and I'm going, whoa, maybe. But he was on a watch list, so we've been watching for 3 or 4 years to watch that click, right? To watch Tim Smith transition into being the player that we think he's capable of doing. Hopefully it all clicks under Kane Wommack. We'll talk about it. We'll play some audio. Rodney Orr coming up in just a couple of minutes. 30 days away, brought to you by Alabama Credit Union. We roll on. Happy August to you. July, get out of here. We're ready for some college football. Can you believe it? College football for the University of Alabama starts this month. Reminded by Alabama Credit Union. We'll roll on. We'll take your phone calls. A lot of audio, a lot of conversations to get into. We'll do it coming up in a couple of minutes. Rodney Orr next. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
hour's West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
After days of denial, Jack Moles, the co-owner of Nick's Original Filet House on US 11 South, has admitted he used a racial slur last weekend to describe a group of black customers celebrating a birthday at the iconic restaurant. Moles plans to personally apologize to each person present. Tuscaloosa plans to seek federal funds to help reconstruct the airport terminal at Tuscaloosa National. They hope it could attract an air carrier. And a heat advisory continues till 9 tonight for heat index upward.
Experience the wow factor. Contact Shoot Masonry and Specialties at 205-887-3807 today and unleash your home's full potential.
The Pharmacy at Midtown with TJ Thomas, 205-752-0627. PharmacyMidtown.com. Don't forget about the retail side of the Pharmacy at Midtown. It's an independent-owned pharmacy specializing in walk-in prescriptions, medicine-on-time packaging, which increases that independence. Compounding needs. The only sterile compounding facility in Tuscaloosa is the Pharmacy at Midtown with TJ Thomas.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
This afternoon, we're under a heat advisory till 9 p.m. this evening. Temperatures climbing to 97 under partly cloudy skies. A few isolated storms pushing southeast out of the area. Tonight, mostly clear skies, the low near 77. Then tomorrow will be mostly sunny and hot. Highs topping out near 98 degrees with heat advisories likely needed again. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
Back into the game here in Tuscaloosa. It's Rumsey Environmental. It's a one-stop shop serving West Alabama for all of your waste removal needs. When you have to know it's being done right, that's the time to call Rumsey Environmental, 205-248-0002, 205-248-0002. Got a lot of things to get to, a lot of conversations. We'll take phone call, a lot of excitement, and we'll be very curious to see how you have kind of calculated all of this, being out at practice. Rodney Orr has covered a lot of Alabama Crimson Tide football, and it's good to be back out there at practice. Rodney Orr, I hope all is well. Welcome into the game in Tuscaloosa.
Hey, Ryan, how are you?
I'm good. Always good to go to practice and always good to see a few things, and we're getting a little bit more. It's not just going to practice for stretching drills. We're actually seeing a little bit of a few things.
Yeah, it kind of, honestly, it's very similar to what Nick Saban did before, the shutdown in 2020. Of course, once that happened, we got very little. But you know what? It is good to be able to watch this team. And I think the one thing that really strikes me, Ryan, going out there the last couple of days is you just get a sense of a vibe, that's a really good vibe. Now, I'm not making any predictions on the season, but I do get a sense that this team is really together. They're practicing with a lot of intensity that we see when we're in there in that media viewing period. There's a lot of intensity. There's a lot of, looks like the attitudes, and you get a sense that they're really good. They're all working on the same page. So I think that's really one of the things that's very encouraging.
Rodney, being out there the last couple of days, because it's fun to see the transformation from where they were at in April at A-Day, and you get a chance to see it. Anybody jump off to you of making a transformation body-wise?
Specifically, I'd have to really think about that. I mentioned Jeremiah Alexander on TiderInsider.com. Of course, he's one of the guys that's vying to back up, Deontay Lawson and Jihad Campbell in the middle. But I think he's a guy that, now, I don't know if he's actually lost weight or not, Ryan, but he looks in better shape. I mean, he looks trimmer. He looks like he's really, had a good off season. I would say Keon Keeley's another guy that has moved from outside linebacker. Of course, in the spring, they put him down and he started working with the Bandit defensive ends. And you can tell that he's put on a good bit of weight. I mean, I think he still probably has a ways to go to develop his body. But I think that you look at him and you wonder maybe if he can be a pass rusher this year and then continue to build and get bigger and stronger. But I just think overall, I mean, I think the defensive line, I raved about them in the spring. I think those guys look really good on the hoof. I'm just really impressed with the receiver group, just watching them move around. I think that's a group that has some really good players, potentially some that maybe are better than that. But I think they're going to surprise some people in this offense, Ryan. I think there's some better players at the wide receiver spot than people think. In the secondary.
Ronnie, be honest now. You were not cheating and just listen to White and I talk about this in the two as we open up the show.
Honestly, you know what? You called it the perfect time because I just got through listening to Kane Womack's, the press conference that we had with him afterwards.
We literally just said what you just said about the wide receivers. White and I were just talking about it. I'm so glad that you were not listening because it's kind of a confirmation. We were saying the same thing. There are some receivers out there that definitely passed the eye test. That unit has a chance to be special.
I think they've got a chance to be really, really good. And people around here, of course, now you've seen the best. You've seen Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Jerry Jeudy, Ruggs, and all the other guys that they had through the years, Amari Cooper, Julio, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But here's the thing. I mean, I don't know if you've got, again, I think Ryan Williams to me, I just said today, just looking at him, the way he moves, his body control, the way he can get in the air and snag balls, the way he uses his hands, he's really fluid. He's very, very smooth. And you hate to, if you wanted to just compare him in those areas, he reminds me of Devontae Smith. I mean, his build is very similar to what Devontae's was when he got here. So, I mean, I think Ryan Williams has a lot of incredible potential. I think, and again, I'm just rattling off some names here. Kendrick Law made an incredible catch today. He's got, the speed. You could see it. You could see the ability to catch the ball. I'm looking forward to seeing him get more opportunities. I know that Kobe Prentice has done some really nice things. I'm really excited about Jeremy Bernard as well. I think that Caleb Odom at 6'5", you look at his frame and the way he moves, he gives him an option there with a tall receiver. Again, there's a lot of young players. Cole Adams, who I think looks really good. And I think some people have whispered to me, don't write off Bubba Hampton, the true freshman from Texas that was here in the spring. He's a guy that shows a lot of things. And again, I'm probably missing somebody, just rattling off the top of my head. But Ryan, I think in this offense, with Jamarcus Shepard, the coaching they're getting, I think there's a few guys that are going to emerge, and people are going to say, hey, you know what? This Alabama receiving corps is better than we knew.
Rodney, every time you ask a coach about Zabian Brown, their energy level goes up. You can see it. You can see it whether we were talking about Mo Linguist or we were talking about Kane Womack. And I know what you just said, you just finished up listening to the press conference. Seems to be the talk. Yeah, throughout spring, looks like he's primed and ready to make a contribution in that secondary as a youngster.
It sounds to me, and we're only 2 days in, that he probably has the leg up at that corner spot opposite of Damani Jackson. And everything I hear about him that's coming from inside is they think he's going to be a real stud. I mean, Zabian Brown, the true freshman out of California, kind of goes back to your interview maybe back in the spring or sometime when you talked to George Teague, and he was rattling about how, this guy's got he looks like he's got some NFL tools right now. And again, there's some other kids. I mean, Jalen Mbakwe, I was just kind of dictating or notating the things that, Womack was saying, and he was talking about Mbakwe probably over the last 6 months has made as many strides as anyone, because a lot of people forget Mbakwe was a high school quarterback. He really wasn't a play-in, play-out corner. And now that he's doing it every single day, the strides that he's made, and Xavier Mincy, the other true freshman. And then, I really thought, and I said this yesterday in my On the Hoof report after practice, that I thought the transfer from Wake Forest, Deshaun Jones, really caught my attention. And that's the first time I've ever seen him. But just his physical, the way he looked, the way his body, he's got some long arms. I was really impressed with what I saw. And then, again, just listening to Womack, re-listening to his, interview with us today, he talked about Deshaun Jones in the last 8 weeks has made incredible strides with the way he's kind of transformed himself physically. So, there's a lot of the thing is, and we know this, these guys, they haven't played together. there's some inexperience there. So I think that's really the big question mark. But there is a lot of talent.
Were you surprised that Justin Jefferson got a mention from Kane Womack during the press availability?
You know, I'm gonna give our cohort Gary Harris some credit here. You know, Gary was talking to somebody back in the spring, and he kept telling me, he said, "Man, I'm hearing from somebody that Justin Jefferson is having a great spring." But, you know, Ryan, we weren't hearing, you know, nobody else was saying it, you know. And so Justin Jefferson, Gary continued to tell me, you know, hey, I keep hearing from someone about Justin Jefferson. So I can't say that I was surprised. I could say this. I was really glad to get that confirmation today, because Kane Womack just stepped up and said, you know, we consider him a starter, basically. We consider him right there with the other guys, that he had an unbelievable spring. So it matches up with what Gary's been telling me he had heard. So I'm not really surprised, but I am really glad to hear that confirmation, because, you know, you've got the two. You've got Jihad Campbell. You've got Deontay Lawson. To hear that Justin's playing on that high of a level, and kind of the development of Jeremiah Alexander, which Womack also mentioned. And also, Ryan, let's talk about Jason Okoronkwo, the true freshman who had 11 tackles in the A-Day game. Womack mentioned him today. So I think those were all encouraging things as far as the inside linebackers are concerned.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's a lot of things coming at you. And I think the one thing, and we were talking about this yesterday with one of our guests, is because the complexity of Nick Saban's defense, there's nothing against that. I mean, it worked. I mean, it won 6 national titles and 9 SEC titles, but they've simplified some things. Player friendly, a little bit more. That gives maybe some of these younger players an opportunity to play. In previous years, they may not have had a chance to get on the football field, but with a simplified defense, maybe they do. Maybe they do from a youngster standpoint.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like I said, I really think Zabian Brown and probably the other younger guys too. And you know, you mentioned that, and then Deshaun Jones coming in from Wake Forest. You know, he has like 22 career starts, I think, Ryan, under his belt. But coming in as he is now, he wasn't here in the spring. Previously, he probably would not have had a chance. I mean, because it just been too much to learn. Very few guys could do that. You know, Minkah Fitzpatrick was one of the ones that could come in. Remember, he came in as a true freshman, didn't get here until the summer, and guys on the field game one. But not a lot of guys can do that. Malachi Moore did it, you know, early in his career. But no, I think those guys are going to certainly have an opportunity to really make strong contributions. They're going to have to.
They also seem to be talking a lot about that tackle spot. Caden Proctor, we assume, will be at that left spot, but they've got 3 guys that seem very comfortable with all 3 of these guys. Obviously, Caden Proctor, Elijah Pritchett, which works at left tackle, and then Wilkin Formby. That's a competition to keep our eyes on. I know it's only 2 days into camp, but that will work itself out in the next 30 days.
Yeah, I saw today. I didn't get the chance to see the offensive line yesterday, but someone mentioned to me that they did not see Pritchett working on the right side yesterday, and then today I watched him, and when we got the media viewing opportunity, now let's be clear, it's only 20 minutes or so, but he was on the left side again, you know, working with Proctor over there. And the thing that really caught my attention about both those guys, just their feet. I mean, well, first of all, Proctor's lost a lot of weight. I mean, and he looks lighter on his feet. He's moving around really well. I'll tell you another thing, Ryan, that caught my attention. I look at these things. Is after a drill, you know, after going through a play, and again, this is, you know, just position drills, I noticed Proctor jogs pretty well back to the position group where he's supposed to be. There's no dragging around. They're moving quickly. That tells me a little bit of something there. I mean, I really was impressed by the way he handled himself in between reps today. But also, no, Elijah Pritchett's feet, you can see it. But Wilkin Formby was at right tackle like the whole time we were watching. And, you know, Wilkin's got great size. And from everyone I talked to, it's just he's so sound technically. So they do have, it sounds like they're really confident in those 3 guys.
Ronnie, I know this time next year we'll be talking about quarterback, because we assume that Jalen Milroe is going to have the season that we think he's going to have. It's a good-looking group of quarterbacks behind Jalen Milroe, because I was watching Austin Mack today throw, and, man, he throws with he's got a cannon. Let's just say it that way.
Yes, he does, Ryan. Now, I will say this. Most of the conversations, when I get into the conversations about quarterbacks,
sure,
most people don't even mention Milroe anymore because, I mean, it's like it's a given, right? I mean, he's the guy. So it kind of moves past him and into the next guys. And, I mean, just everything I've heard about Ty Simpson and what he's done since the middle of the spring, they said, everyone I've spoken to, just how he's flourishing now under DeBoer and Nick Sheridan, how he's gained a lot of confidence. He's found his rhythm that, previously he'd really struggled with his confidence. He was reluctant to sometimes to do things because he was afraid he was going to make a mistake. But he's really kind of cut loose now. And so he's kind of found his groove, is the way to put it. Made a lot of strides. He's up to close to 220 pounds physically. So that's good. Again, I think Dylan Lonergan has a lot of tools, and I think Austin Mack is, as you said, he can really spin it, So they've got a great room there. But like I said, I get the feel that, they feel like if they had to play Ty Simpson in a situation that maybe unexpectedly, that he's ready to go.
Yeah, no, I think you can see that. I mean, there's not a lot of drop off. When you look at Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson, and we were talking about it yesterday, that's a good thing, right? I mean, no doubt you've got your quarterback, but you want everybody to be able to push. And then, in this season that we're expecting, if Alabama's able to go deep, chances are you're probably going to need a Ty Simpson at some point. That's just the way it works out. You watch the NFL, you watch college football, now extended the season, you better have a quality backup, or if not, you could be in trouble.
Yeah, you're right, and you never know. I mean, I know there was a report a few weeks ago, something about Texas has, if Ewers goes down, which he goes down every year, at some point, or he has, but if he were to go down again, that they felt really confident that Arch Manning could step in and they don't lose a beat. And there was some sort of a comment made that, what would happen at Alabama if Milroe were to go down? People not as confident that what would happen, but that's, from what I understand, inside that building, they kind of got a kick out of that because they really believe that Ty Simpson, he could really bring it if he's needed.
Rodney, is recruiting kind of slowed down a little bit? I mean, do you expect anything on the recruiting scene before we let you get out of here?
Yeah, obviously they picked up a couple of 2027 guys, really young kids. Barack Willis out of Moody over the weekend, an edge player. That's obviously really talented kid, and then another one, Jabarius Garor from down at Viger, another edge player, another 2027 kid. Had a lot of offers. Those guys had some good offers, but again, they're a long, long way away. And then, but no, for the 2025 class, I think still you're waiting on A.K. Deere, the running back out of Mississippi. So I still believe is eventually will commit to Alabama. And then, you got Khalid Lockett announces on the 7th here in 6 days, the wide receiver, 5-star wide receiver out of Texas. I think still I would favor Texas at this point over Alabama. And there's going to be some players, Ryan, that they're going to continue to recruit. They're going to continue some of the guys like Derek Smith that flipped to Auburn. They're going to probably try to flip him back. In fact, they offered his brother yesterday, who's a 6'6" wide receiver on that team, for 2025. So, watch that. They're going to continue to look for defensive linemen and, any other positions that they feel they need. A lot of things can change, Ryan, between now and, say, October. A guy could emerge, a guy who's committed somewhere else. All of a sudden, he's, watching Alabama, and he starts to have an interest or even more interest. So there's just so many things that can happen between now and December where guys that, weren't on the radar very much really kind of start to emerge.
Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com. TiderInsider.com, TITV, WVUA each Tuesday, 6:30, 10:30 on the replay. You can check that out on WVUA, also throughout the state on the satellite syndicated channels. It's also archived, TiderInsider.com. Probably no better time to become a member as camp opens up and a lot of access that we are given. And the community, as you said, the forum is able to share a lot of great information, a lot of great sources on that TI message board. Rodney Orr. Hey, sometimes I look on there and be like, oh, that's something to keep an eye on, on. I mean, those guys are plugged in. Rodney, I appreciate you as always, man. Have a great rest of your day.
Okay, Ryan. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com. We'll take more of your phone calls. Paul and Lincoln, you've been waiting the longest. We'll get to you coming up next. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Or text DEAL to 511-511.
Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
The Pharmacy at Midtown with TJ Thomas, 205-752-0627. PharmacyMidtown.com. Don't forget about the retail side of the Pharmacy at Midtown. It's an independent-owned pharmacy specializing in walk-in prescriptions, medicine on time packaging, which increases that independence. Compounding needs. The only sterile compounding facility in Tuscaloosa is the Pharmacy at Midtown with TJ Thomas.
Want to jump into any of the shows? Call Tide 100.9 right now at 205-34...
Appreciate Rodney Orr for jumping on. We're going to take more phone calls coming up here in a couple of minutes. We've also got audio, and we're going to talk about a lot of different things. Fire up one of those Kane Womack audio clips. Let's go to the pressure. I like the one that's about pressure because he talked about, you've always got to have a defense. And what are you known for with the defensive side of the football? And he talked about pressure and creating headaches and getting after the quarterback. I think all these teams want to do this, but I think one of the things that he kind of lined up and made us understand, and we've heard this from different people. Bobby Carpenter, great example of the 4-2-5, and maybe some of the biggest differences between that and your traditional Nick Saban 3-4, or even a 4-3 defense. But 4-2-5, here it is when looking at pressure and trying to get after the quarterback.
Well, I think, you look at pressure a number of different ways, right? Some of it is just natural. Can we go 4 down and be able to, create pressure on the quarterback off the edge? We are very focused on takeaways here and creating takeaways. And you create takeaways by creating pressure on the quarterback, right? We looked at all 7. There was like 751 takeaways in the NFL last season, all right? And out of those, right, the vast majority of them come from the pressure on the quarterback, whether they hit the quarterback, got hands on the quarterback, or they were able to put him in an uncomfortable position to where he forced to throw. And so for us, I think we've got some guys naturally that can do that off the edge. To me, Jamarian Latham, LT Overton, I think I've seen a lot out of that Wolf room right now. I think Keanu Coate, Quay Russaw, Q Robinson are doing some great things. And then you've got some younger guys like Yanze Pierre that are starting to step up. Keon Keeley off the edge to the field and Jordan Renard. I mean, I've really been pleased with some of the rush that we've been able to create. And then naturally, our backers and safeties have a lot of instinctive, what we call blitz awareness. We look for that whenever we're recruiting players. Does a second-level player, have great blitz awareness? And I think we have that from a couple of our safeties and backers.
All right, we'll dive into a lot of that audio as we travel throughout the afternoon. Also, Kalen DeBoer audio that yesterday, we do have an off day tomorrow. And you say, whoa. Can you guys only take 2 days of practices? Yeah, it's the media, right? It's just, we couldn't take being out there 3 days in a row. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, you got to get up early, got to get out there. We got to stretch and kind of go through, get our vocal cords ready for a few questions. So, yeah. I mean, we're just, 2 days is enough. And then we'll get back on Saturday and Sunday. But
it's tough out here as the media.
I mean, it's not an easy job. Not everybody can do this. I mean, to be able to sit around talking Alabama Crimson Tide football. But, yeah, we get no practice tomorrow. That doesn't mean they're not working. But I believe the graduation is also getting ready to happen on the campus of the University of Alabama for that summer session. I don't know if this would be summer 2 or if this is the full session, but I believe the graduation will be happening a little bit smaller than what your May typical graduation, but that'll be happening over the weekend. Then you've got 9:20 on Saturday morning. Good morning. No cartoons for us. We won't be able to watch that. Sunday morning, no church either. That'll be 11:45 media availability. Kalen DeBoer, maybe he can bring the word from the podium. I mean, 11:45, so that's a little unusual, but just based on what we're hearing, looks like Sunday maybe a little practice day for these guys when fall camp gets here. Let's go to Paul in Lincoln. Paul, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well, man.
Hey, Ryan, make sure Sunday you're not a backbencher. Make sure you're right up there at the front.
Oh,
okay?
no. You don't have to worry about me, man. I am a front row guy, whether it's at church or in a biology class or in a team meeting.
You're a front row Joe.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not a back. The back's just not for me because it's all because of my attention problem. Mm-hmm. Okay, I have to look through 9 different people to look at the podium, and you got, this baby over here crying and this one over here is throwing his popsicle. No. I got to focus, man. I got to focus. So, yes. And that's all to do with my attention disorder up here.
I got you, brother. Hey, look, before we get started, let's all embrace the suck.
Oh.
That's SAUCK.
That's
Ryan,
a weird
have I told you lately?
That's a weird way to spell SU. What was it? What? SAUCK?
SAUCK.
What does the AU stand for? What does the AU stand for?
The AU stands for the Auburn Tigers. The Auburn family. That's FAMBLY.
Okay, just in case we have a lot of new listeners, because we do have a lot of interactive stuff.
Anything anti-bugs, I'm your guy. Just let the new listeners know. Have I told you lately, Ryan, how much I can't stand the bugs?
No.
I haven't. Okay, I just want everybody to know that Paul in Lincoln is the number one Auburn hater, maybe of all time. So I want everyone to know that.
Did you hear AC yesterday call in with his nonsense talking about, is the Alabama-Auburn rivalry really that special? And he started naming, and I'm like, listen, there is one thing Auburn fans and Alabama fans can agree upon. We hate one another equally, and that's okay. And this is the best rival in college football. It's really not even a debate. It's kind of like Jalen Milroe, the starting quarterback. It's not really a debate.
Yeah, there's no debate. There's no debate in my mind, and I don't care what the other national pundits or AC from Bangladesh think. It's rivalry number one in my book. Always has been and always will be. I love beating them clowns. It cuts me to the core when we lose to them, literally. I can't stand them. I'll always hate them. And I know God is working on me in that area of my life. As far as hate goes, and
loving your enemies is a tough commandment when we talk about college football.
It is because I know exactly, Ryan. I know exactly how they feel about us. So, as much as I can't stand them, their disdain is reciprocal back towards us as well. So, but anyway, Ryan, you guys have been knocking it out of the park with your coverage. I've been checking things out, video. You guys are working for us, and I appreciate it.
Yeah,
man.
Did I see you sign up on Twitter the other day? Did I get a Paul in Lincoln on Twitter the other day? Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
My bad. I just got an alert and it said Paul in Lincoln is now following you, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, there's somebody. There's a Paul, and
it could
he's
be
in
a
Lincoln,
fake.
and
It could be a fake account.
It could be. You never know these days, Ryan. You never know. But I will say this: I love the information. Like I said, that we're getting from the Ryan Fowler Radio Network. You and Wyatt are doing a great job. But I tell you what, man, listen, I know we're just 2 days in, and we still have yet to play our first football game. But, Ryan, listen, there just seems, and you've said it, as such pretty much. There's a new buzz. There's an energy level down there that we really haven't seen maybe in the last couple of seasons. Would you agree?
Amen, Paul. It's something that I kept hearing throughout the offseason, and I would try to come in and introduce it to the audience, what I was hearing, and then now seeing it, not just hearing about it, seeing it. Rodney, who said he was not listening to the first 15 minutes of the show, which I was thankful. But, he came in and said identical to what White and I were saying about both the vibe and the receivers. This football team is talented.
You are exactly right about the receivers. The I guess it was about 5-6 minute video I saw of them. Man, there are some grown men at that receiver position. Kendrick Law looks like a stinking linebacker. The Odom kid from man, that kid is. You're right. He has a chance to be an absolute nightmare matchup issue with the defense. And Ryan Williams, man, what a smooth operator that kid looks like. And like I said, this kid should be going into a senior year in high school. And yet he makes it look. He looks like a natural. And I know. Listen, competition. It's certainly going to ramp up as we head into the season. But there is plenty of meat on this bone, so to speak, if you know what I mean. And Ryan, what do you think? What do you think these coaches are when they get into a coaches meeting, they have access right now, Ryan, to probably there's no probably to it. This is the best team they have probably laid their eyes on, and maybe in their careers.
Well, as excited as we are to have access, I'm sure they're as excited as well when you look at it. It's a buzz, but the wide receivers, that's going to be deep. And if this offense is if it's capable and it accomplishes what we think, can you imagine what that's going to do in the recruiting trail?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, man.
The Bugs.
It's already paid huge dividends. Yeah.
Yeah, the Bugs might get a few decommitments.
Yeah. Well, listen, the Bugs, them clowns, they can smile and high-five and take their victory laps like they're doing. They've got their embedded media down there that's writing all these huge accolades about Hugh Hefner, Hunter Freeze, he's turned the page, just that and the other. Screw them. You hear me? Screw them. It's just, like I said to start around, I can't stand them. So,
I said this yesterday. And I'll say it again. If you took, because this quarterback room is so deep in Tuscaloosa, I believe you could take Dylan Lonergan or Austin Mack, the two guys that are backing up Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson, battling for that third spot, and you could put them at Auburn, and they would both beat out Peyton Thorne.
Exactly. Ryan, I want to say one more thing, please.
Go ahead. Yeah, please.
Oh, it is. It's uber talented, Ryan. And to keep that quarterback room together after spring, my hat's off to Coach DeBoer and his staff for just doing that, But, Ryan, I guess we've all witnessed what happened in the Olympics. I guess it was yesterday, the boxing match between the man playing little girl.
Yeah, we had Tubbs on. We had Tommy Tuberville on to talk about it.
Yeah. And what an absolute travesty. And there was another issue. It wasn't in the Olympics, but there was a volleyball match where a male playing as a girl spiked the ball and hit a girl in the head. There's video out there of that, and now she's paralyzed. He just came. Oh, he just smoked her, hit her right in the forehead, and now this girl is a beautiful little girl. She's paralyzed. So it's just a travesty what is allowed in this country when you've got men, playing little girl because they couldn't cut it in the men's sports. It's a joke. It's a travesty, and we're going to be judged mightily on things like that. Believe me. And all I can say is, come on November 5th, and Let's roll MAGA.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you. We'll continue here with more phone calls. Paul and Lincoln, we thank you for your phone call. We're asking you. You've observed, you've heard, you've watched video 2 days in. You feeling pretty good? You all right? We'll continue with more of your calls next. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
For his clients. Remember M for money and Mesrano.
If it has a logo on it, call me. 205-800-8000.
DanielMooreArt.com. Daniel Moore Art celebrates those special moments of Alabama football history like 4th and 31, Jalen Milroe connected with Isaiah Bond, or the legacy continues with all the great memories of Alabama Crimson Tide football. You can celebrate Coach Saban with a Nick Saban print, the limited edition canvas. You could also find many of the great mini prints. Celebrate that special Alabama fan in your life. DanielMooreArt.com. The game. That's the code word for a significant discount. And when you check out, tell them that you heard about it right here on the game. DanielMooreArt.com. For over 5 years in our community in downtown Northport under that Roll Tide Bridge, Mark's Mark, the home of the chicken swirl. You'll find that since 1978 in Selma, Alabama, for over 5 years in downtown Northport. If you want to dominate the grill today or any day, find Mark's Mark. A great stop by on your way home. If you're preparing for dinner, they've got a lot of those gourmet dishes that you can find, the great casseroles, the dips, the appetizers, the great steaks, the pork chops, the burgers, and all the supplies you need to dominate the grill. It's Mark's Mark for over 5 years in downtown Northport and since 1978 in Selma, Alabama. Mark's Mark, home of the chicken swirl.
You're listening to the best sports talk show, breaking down the Crimson Tide. The game.
It takes me away to that special place, and if I stay out too long, I'd probably break down and cry.
Hey, Ryan, let's go to Kane Womack on cornerbacks and their development, because we've been talking a lot about Xavier Brown. We've talked about a lot of the younger up-and-coming guys. When you look at their development, this was a thing that we talked about back in the spring, and we don't have time right now to get to a caller because we're about 56 after. I never want to pin somebody up against where I've only limited time, so we'll take all of our callers. Coach Smoot, get ready. You'll be the first caller after the top of the hour right here. But let's continue, and right here we'll go to Kane Womack talking about the young and up-and-coming cornerbacks on the campus of the University of Alabama.
Well, I think, to me, right off the bat, Damani Jackson, Xavier Brown have been really impressive. I think if you look at Jalen Mbakwe, he has probably made the greatest strides over the last 6 months. And then, I would say all three of those freshmen, Xavier Brown, Jalen Mbakwe, and then Xavier Mincy, I think are taking steps in the right direction. And then, of course, Day-Day, great to have him, from Wake Forest.
All right. And I kind of agree with what Rodney said a couple of minutes ago. You just feel like Xavier Brown at this point is the guy that probably has taken the early lead. But, hey, still a lot of time left in camp to either earn it, and then also when you get to the game, can you maintain that position? We'll continue with more. I do remind you about the Wharf. If you're looking for a new pair of boots, Justin, Tony Lama, Red Wing, Georgia, Double H, Timberline, Laredo, and many more, you'll find it at the Wharf. It's conveniently located on McFarland Boulevard on the right-hand side of the road as you travel westbound. You've got the Winn-Dixie, you've got El Gran. You've also got the Blue Plate right there sandwiched in the Wharf, the Working Western headquarters since 1976. The Working Western headquarters for the entire family. You'll find it at the Wharf. All the name brands, Wrangler, Levi, Lee, you'll find those, Carhartt clothing, Rocky clothing, Under Armour clothing, and a lot more. We're always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, and we're going to continue coming up in a couple of minutes. Coach, we'll get to you, and then Stephen in Raleigh, North Carolina, Blueberry Steve in Montreal, Canada. And we'll also talk with Nick Kelly coming up at 3:30 right here on the game. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. Dos Amigos, Highway 69 in the new Publix Shopping Center. 11 a.m. opening, 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday closing at 9, Sunday through Thursday. Some great Mexican cuisine, the great fajitas, the great desserts, the great lunch specials. You'll find it at Dos Amigos in the Publix Shopping Center on Highway 69. Takeout orders always.
Both.
Many pre-owned and certified BMWs are waiting for you at BMW of Tuscaloosa, 3537 Skyland Boulevard East, or at bmwoftuscaloosa.com.
Alabama Credit Union with the official countdown to Alabama Crimson Tide football right here on the game, alabamacu.com. The mobile app saves a lot of time. The mobile deposits, checking, savings, mortgage, home equity loan, financing a vehicle, the great competitive rates. Alabama.
Smell good. I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
The game is powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. David DeSantis, the largest selection of new Toyotas in over 3 years, can be found on Skyland Boulevard, 3325 Skyland Boulevard. Also a nice inventory of pre-owned inventory. You can find the new Tundra, the 2024, the Tacoma two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. How about a new 4Runner, Highlander, RAV4, Camry, Corolla? For those outside of Tuscaloosa, saved money by driving to Tuscaloosa and buying here with a great tax rate. Customer service is a priority at Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
This afternoon, we're under a heat advisory until 9 p.m. this evening. Temperature climbing to 97 under partly cloudy skies. A few isolated storms pushing southeast out of the area. Tonight, mostly clear skies, the low near 77. Then tomorrow will be mostly sunny and hot. Highs topping out near 98 degrees with heat advisories likely needed again. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Dan Byer.
It's gold again for American Simone Biles. The gymnast claimed gold in the women's all-around today, her second career title in the event at the Olympic Games. It's Biles' third medal of these games and her sixth gold of her career. Fellow American Suni Lee took home the bronze today. In swimming, American Kate Douglas just grabbed gold in the women's 200-meter breaststroke, while at the half, the U.S. women's basketball team leads Belgium 46-38. In tennis, on the men's side, Spain's Carlos Alcaraz topped American Tommy Paul to advance to the semifinals. Serbia's Novak Djokovic also on to the semis. And Japan's Hideki Matsuyama leads after the first round of the men's golf competition at 8 under par in Paris. Xander Schauffele of the U.S. 2 shots back at 6 under. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert will be in a walking boot for 2 weeks with an injury to the plantar fascia in his right foot. Chargers believe he'll be ready for week 1 when they face the Raiders.
Everything. She loves to move, she loves to groove, she loves a lot of things. All night, oh, every night. So hold tight, ooh baby, hold tight. Oh, she said, any way you want it, that's the way you need it, any way you want it. She said, any way you want it, that's the way you need it, any way you want it.
It is Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com, 3325 Skyland Boulevard, and online at TuscaloosaToyota.com. How about a Tacoma two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive? How about a Tundra two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive? Several different models, several different colors to choose from. Also, you can find the Corolla. It is in stock. The new 2025 Camry, averaging 50-plus miles per gallon. You can find it at Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. Let's take phone calls. Coach Smook, how are you? Welcome into the game in Tuscaloosa.
What's going on, Ryan? How you doing today, brother?
I'm good. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Just excited about everything that's being put out. Been following your page and your content a lot more closely these last few days, knowing that I'm going to get the inside to everything I need to know about what's going on at Bama practices, man. I'm just excited about the fall season being here, brother.
Yeah, when you get to this point of the season, when you started about 245 days and you're down to 30 days, you just feel good. I mean, energy. I said to the audience yesterday, it was therapy to go out and, go to practice, just hear that those whistling going crazy. Smell that football grass out there. Just
yes, sir.
It's hot, but it's still, man, it just energizes you.
100%, Ryan. But I've been listening to the previous calls, and shout out to Rodney Orr, man, a personal friend of mine. You know, I had the privilege of meeting both of you all this past spring during spring ball, man, and we stayed in contact. And a lot of things that I've just been harking on throughout the summer, you know, on different platforms. It's good to know that we're right there on track still with where we left off. You know, a lot of our perceptions being a part of the media, I think it's starting to just be consistent with what we perceived early on. And like you said, a lot of it was just the vibe at the campus. We were joking about it during the spring, how much it had changed in such a short time. And to see the results of everything come to fruition is one of those things where you have to be confident as an Alabama fan, looking at just how confident the staff is approaching the media, the players. You know, I'm excited, Ryan. I can't express that enough. A lot of people are ready to see this offense. I'm more excited about the defense. And today just so happened to be defense and media day. And Kane Womnick's words really, they just knowing where his experience is as a defensive coordinator in general and as a coach in general on a collegiate level, to speak highly of the young guys the way he has, that just gives me more confidence. Ryan.
Well, and I think because of the system that you operate in, I tried to make this case before, Rodney, is if it's not as complex and it's simplified for the players to understand it, that means you could play players quicker, right? I mean, Alan Scarborough made that comment yesterday on our show, and I was like, wow, because I saw a lot of great football players. I'll give you the great example. Marlon Humphrey did not play as a true freshman. He did not. I mean, he was redshirted. And he was the 3-year player, and he was gone, okay? If it was too complex for a guy like Marlon Humphrey, then it's too dadgum complex. It's good that you're simplifying to get these players earlier and earlier starts, because with this portal, you got to engage those young guys quickly.
Oh, yes, sir. And that's evident to even a lot of the recruits that we were missing out on, you know, later in Coach Saban's tenure. And I mean, maybe the last 4 or 5 years. A lot of those recruits, they didn't want to play gap scheme up front, you know, trying to hold up 2 gaps for, you know, 75, 80% of the snaps. They don't want to. Everybody's not trying to be a roadblock as a defensive end. You know, some guys want to specialize and get to the quarterback. You know, they don't. And this system, this scheme that we're adjusting to, if you go back and look at what Ole Miss did great during David Warmack's tenure at Ole Miss, they allowed their edge rushers to get after the quarterback. Their defensive line applied one of the highest quarterback pressure rates we've seen in the last 10, 15 years of college football. And you think about all of the elite defensive line groupings that came through college football, especially in the SEC since that time at Ole Miss. So if the system can work, if you have the athletes and the talent to be aggressive, and that's what it is up front. And on the back end, you got a bunch of athletes in the secondary, young and veteran guys, who are now going to be allowed to play a lot of read and react type coverage, or you know, more closer pressures as far as their cushions and their depth, and trusting their athleticism and their ball play ability. And I think that's the type of athletes you've had at Alabama for a long time. Is just like you said, a scheme so complex, it makes you think too much, and you know it doesn't allow you to play. So I'm excited to hear Xavier Brown, you know, manning that starting corner position, opposite of Damani Jackson. It just I had that same conversation with Coach Teague, with George Teague, and it was just an awesome conversation because I said the same thing. Him and Mincy to me are interchangeable at this point, but Xavier Brown taking that opportunity and jumping out there is very encouraging. And then Mbakwe also. So it's just a lot of talent everywhere, Ryan.
Well, count on this team. Listen, right now you can get a bit good value when you look at Alabama kind of winning the SEC or winning the national title. Probably the most value when you go to Las Vegas than Alabama's had in probably 20 years because it's kind of like on the outside looking in, that top 5. Normally they're at 5, 6, 7. I've seen them as low as 8. And I'll go out on that football field and I'm like, this is the 8th best team in the country? Okay. Okay.
And you know, on paper as fans, we get excited, but I look at it when I get those moments to evaluate those practice moments. I just look at the small things, kind of like what Rodney was saying in the previous caller. You know, just how smooth Ryan Williams and a lot of those wide receivers, those young receivers, are running their routes, how technically they're sound with securing the catch, going up and attacking the ball at the highest point. Even the quarterbacks, you know, the consistency of mechanics that I'm seeing in these clips, you know, it's just consistently building and taking it, you know, it's to me, just execution-wise, it doesn't look like there's been a step missed since spring ball. We saw the same efficiency in spring ball, and to be able to adjust the way that this team is adjusting as a whole, where you have to really go and look for the bad spots, that's promising for a team that was just in the playoffs last year. We lost a lot of production, you know, on both sides of the ball, but we know how much talent we had sitting behind the guys that were forced to play 60, 70-plus snaps a game. And knowing that we're keying on building depth, it's about to get crazy, Ryan. It's about to get crazy for college football, and Alabama is going to be the cause of it because so many people are counting us out.
Coach Smook, it's good to hear from you, man. Thank you again for being a part of the show.
Already. Roll Tide, Ryan, and catch up with you later, bro.
Hey, absolutely. Thank you, Coach Smook. We appreciate that. Man, what a great insight he was able to provide there. It's a lot of fun. And when you do look at this Alabama football team, a lot of conversations around that defensive side of the football, maybe not as bad as what we initially thought. Don't go to A-Day and say, well, hold on a minute. Because when you look and you bring pressure and you know that this defense, what they want to be, they're not going to show everything. I mean, that's pretty obvious, especially with a new coaching staff. Not a lot of predictions. Hey, where are they going to go? Well, September the 28th, Georgia, you just might find out. Stephen, Raleigh, North Carolina. Stephen, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
All is well, Ryan. You know, there's so much content out there. I feel like I'm at practice myself.
Well, good. That means all of us media folks are doing our job.
You guys are doing a fantastic job. You know, I watched the video. I think even the university's athletic.
Tip your local media folks, and if Trump gets in, we won't have to pay taxes on tips, which is good. So tip your local media folks. I mean, you know, send them $1, give them a cup of coffee.
Roger that, Ryan. So you know, I watched this film, and I've watched all the material. But heck, by 1 o'clock you can see it all usually, and it just. I want to see if you feel the same way. It just shows me what I believed before that I've talked to you about in the past. This is one of the most talented rosters in the country. And I think the last 2 days have just verified that. I mean, are you feeling the same way out there at practice, Ryan?
Well, when I go out there and I'm looking, and Wyatt and I were talking about it in the first 15 minutes of the show, like wide receivers. Well, I've heard the last 3 or 4 days, wide receivers, hold on. They just, they lost all this production. And you did lose production. You did. But that doesn't mean that you don't have guys behind them. I mean, you may have got some situations off of campus that was causing some issues. Who knows? I mean, Isaiah Bond, tell you what I heard, Stephen. I heard he was a very selfish football player. I heard
his actions showed that right after the bowl game.
I heard he was not a very big team player. So Digger in Texas, our good Digger, which, by the way, yesterday he explained that nickname. It comes from digging oil wells.
I heard.
You know, now you get a chance to deal with Isaiah Bond. So, you know, that one guy can throw up. I'm not saying it was all him. That's not what I'm saying, but it can be.
I just look. You had one of the coaches talking about the I think it was Coach Lindquist, but I could be wrong. And he talked about Kane Womack's defense and how he goes. His quote was, "It's not that hard to pick up, to understand what we're doing." So therefore, you're going to see some of these freshmen, you know, that are came in super ultra talented. You're going to see them contribute, and you know, if you can get after the quarterback and you can know your assignment in a much simpler defense, I believe it'll produce results, Ryan.
I think it will.
So, you know, there's nothing about this team that I've watched in the last 2 days to lead me to believe that 10-2 and 9-3 is going to be the norm for this team. I still say 12-0, 11-1. That's me. I'm a chapsticker, whatever you want to call me.
You're a glazer.
Hey, but when you start having your score prediction, all those 10-2ers out there, I want to hear you pick against Alabama at least twice.
How about the ones who had 8-5
or 8-4? Yeah,
right, yeah. Oh, yeah, 8-4, whatever it was.
8-4. Yeah.
Yeah.
You in the score contest, you got to pick against Alabama if you really believe that at least twice. But here's what you're going to have, Ryan. You're going to have a bunch of 12-0ers all year when you add up who they picked.
So just remember,
anyhow.
We're the ones who are in charge of crow, and we have a recipe that we dry out some crow. I'm talking about it will literally choke you to death when you take the bite of that crow. It's so dry. We're not going to give you any barbecue sauce, and based on the number of wins you had, this could really get ugly. It's just not very tasty.
Ryan, I heard you had it vacuum sealed in the freezer that back there behind the station.
Yeah, but see, what I want to do is on this crow, I want to lay it out in the sun, and I want to get maggots all over this crow. Okay, I want it to be sick. Gross smell. That's the type of crow we're going to be serving.
Hey, well, one last thing before I leave. I want to give a shout-out to Paul from Lincoln. One thing about Paul that I love about Paul, he is dedicated to his hate of Auburn.
Many years ago, I thought I was in that club. Paul embarrasses me with the dislike, and he's got it all memorized, too.
I dislike Auburn. Don't take me wrong, Ryan. I dislike Auburn tremendously. Auburn is our rival. Tennessee next. All these LSU people, we're their rival, but to me, they're not our rival. Our rival's Auburn and Tennessee secondary. So, Paul, you keep doing it, man. Keep carrying that torch. Roll Tide, Ryan. I'm out.
Roll Tide. Stephen in Raleigh, North Carolina. We'll get to Blueberry Steve in Montreal, Canada. We got Nick Kelly coming up in a couple of minutes. We'll get his thoughts. We'll dive into a lot of Alabama Crimson Tide football. We'll take more of your phone calls, more Kane Womack audio. Next, T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide sports.
This hour's West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
The manager of a Tuscaloosa restaurant made an apology after admitting to using a racial slur. Now the Tuscaloosa NAACP has acknowledged the public apology and has called for specific actions. Read more at TuscaloosaThread.com. And as the month of August kicks off, it's also one of the prime hurricane season development timeframes. We are closely watching a tropical wave that has the potential to become a tropical depression and what that means for Alabama. And a new business alert happening this weekend as the new-to-market Cookie Plug Bake.
You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text SUPPORT to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Rumsey Environmental, a one-stop shop serving West Alabama for all of your waste removal needs. If you're in the construction business, take a little bit of stress out of your life. The construction debris removal containers customized to fit your job site, the portable toilet service, the storage containers to protect your valuables. It's Rumsey Environmental for that complete waste removal service. When you
experience the wow factor, contact Shoot Masonry and Specialties at 205-887-3807 today and unleash your home's full potential.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
This afternoon, we're under a heat advisory until 9 p.m. this evening. Temperature climbing to 97 under partly cloudy skies. A few isolated storms pushing southeast out of the area. Tonight, mostly clear skies, the low near 77. Then tomorrow will be mostly sunny and hot. Highs topping out near 98 degrees with heat advisories likely needed again. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
The best place for your high school football.
We welcome you right back into the game. game here in Tuscaloosa. We've got more audio from Kane Womack. We'll go to Nick Kelly with AL.com coming up here in about 9 minutes. We'll also go to Blueberry Steve. But I'll tell you what, why don't we just go out to Kane Womack and wearing that hoodie? Because day number 2, another one of those heat indexes right around 100 degrees. And the defensive coordinator at the University of Alabama out there with those sweatshirts. Life, playing with fire. Here we are. This is Kane Womack saying what he did about wearing the hoodie out in July in Alabama.
That's too big of a word for me, feng shui. I've worn it for so long. I think it's just kind of what I naturally do. I think early on, I think I was trying to keep a lot of older coaches that I know that, they get little spots on them and all that stuff. And then, I kind of got used to it. And now you get a good sweat in and all that stuff. You can lose a couple pounds through it as well. So it's just kind of what I do. So, did it the last 3 years in Mobile, done it for years before that. So it is what it is.
How much weight did you lose yesterday?
You know what? I think I lost 7 pounds, but, I try to gain it back. You want to lose a little bit of weight, but you want to do it a little bit at a time.
Yeah, 7 pounds of water weight. Now, obviously, you drink a lot of fluids. You get right back in. Let's continue with more phone calls, and we'll get to Blueberry Steve, Montreal, Canada. Blueberry Steve, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Hi, Ryan. How are you today?
Good. I just want to let you know that every time I buy blueberries, I think of you. I really do.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
I mean, your blueberry sales have went up in this state simply because of your phone calls.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you know what? Blueberries are great. I love them on my oatmeal. I also have you ever tried scrambled blueberry pancakes?
Blueberry pancakes.
So you take the pancake mix, and instead of pouring it out on a pan, you pour it on a pan, but you scramble it up, and then so it's just scrambled eggs, except that it's pancakes with blueberries. Try it.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I'm not big on cooking pancakes at all. Okay, so when I go to pancakes, normally I'll go to like that. There's a place in Nashville I think it's called the Pancake Pantry or something like that. Oh my man, it's one of the So it's been a while, but pancakes actually sound good. Blueberry Steve. I mean, that's
blueberry pancakes with real pure maple syrup. That's what you have to have.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just want to say I'm really excited about the upcoming season.
As you should be.
Oh my God. Yeah. So I listened to the interview on your Tide 100.9 FM site with Steve in DC with Jalen. It was about a 13-minute interview that they had with him. Wow, that kid is so impressive. Like, really impressive.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it's on our website?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
it's on you.
Yeah, I missed it. I didn't hear it.
It was on. It was posted 2 days ago.
I heard Gary's interview, but I did not hear the other one.
It was posted on July 29th.
Okay.
On your website.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, great stuff. Your clips with Coach Womack are also very encouraging. Listen, the whole thing is great. I'm really looking forward to it. I can hardly wait. I won't make it down for the first game, but I will make it down on the 26th. I think that's the Missouri game. I already got my tickets, as I told you. Looking forward to it.
So you're coming down what day again? What day?
The 26th is the game, I think. Is it the 26th? I'm pretty sure it's the 26th.
What game was it, though?
I think it's Missouri.
Okay. Oh, yeah. That's a good game. That's probably a little underrated when you look at Eli Drinkowitz and what the Missouri Tigers are capable of. Pretty solid.
You know what? Honestly, it was just so awesome. The whole ambiance, the whole thing and you know, everything else. Just being at Bryant-Denny Stadium for the first time for the LSU game last year. Of course, the results of the game were just awesome. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. And I would have loved to come to the opening game, but my son just can't make it. But yeah, so it's going to be great. It's going to be great. I want to take a second, if you don't mind, Ryan.
Okay.
To second my friend Paul, and I'm proud to call my friend, his comments about those, I want to call them male perverts playing women's sports. It's disgusting.
Well, I guess my thing is like, okay, for a dude to come out here and to participate in women's sports, okay, I guess I'm looking for, like, what's the victory? Okay, I mean, it's like, can you really celebrate winning a gold medal in that? I mean, I would be embarrassed that I couldn't compete against those who have the same biological disposition as I do. And we can, we can, hold on. He wants to be. Well, heck, I want to be a billionaire. But I tried that at Alabama Credit Union. They said, well, your money in your account doesn't equal up. So, it's not where we can just claim to be what we want to be. And, I wish what would happen is some of these boxers that are fighting or some of this, just sit down. Sit down. In other words, don't even have the event. I know it would probably take one for the team, but I think it would probably maybe have some of these governing bodies to put restrictions and say, you know what? No. Come on. I mean, you may do this with your activities, other places, but in the competitive side of things, you're not a female. You're not a female. And everyone that has a daughter out there should be standing up against this. And literally don't do it. Don't do it. Don't participate. And that's for Upward Basketball or Little League or Kentuck. I'm
it's disgusting.
Just don't do it. Don't participate. Don't participate.
These young girls, Ryan,
I'm actually watching a video right now. Someone just shared a video. It's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
But that's and if you want more of that in our country, because what's happening in other places, it's worked its way over here. Then November the 5th, you have a decision to make, because the people that.
By the way, that November the 5th is my birthday, right?
Happy early birthday. So.
Well, let's just hope that I get a real great birthday present, and I'll just end with saying, "Roll Tide, roll MAGA."
Yeah. Blueberry Steve. Montreal, Canada. I always say that. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. We're going to Nick Kelly coming up next. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The next Inside the Locker Room with Coach Wimp Sanderson and Barry Sanderson.
Tune in Friday. We'll take a look at Alabama's football practice. We'll listen to all the interviews there. The second hour, we'll have Coach Sonny Smith, and we look forward to taking your phone calls throughout the show.
Inside the Locker Room, weekdays 7 to 9 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and Tide100.9.com.
Don Wallace CPA, 527 Main Avenue in downtown Northport. Small business and personal income taxes, payroll, sales tax needs. They can also help you with nonprofit or church accounting or auditing. In business since 1999, they work for you, not the IRS. When you take on taxes, you got to have someone on your side. It's Don Wallace CPA.
Gives you both. Many pre-owned and certified BMWs are waiting for you at BMW of Tuscaloosa, 3537 Skyland Boulevard East, or at bmwoftuscaloosa.com.
Pat's Florist and Gourmet Baskets in downtown Tuscaloosa, 1010 Queen City Avenue. For over 60 years, they've been serving our community. They specialize in a large inventory of fresh flowers, weddings, gourmet fruit baskets. If you're trying to lift someone's spirits, it is Pat's Florist Gourmet Baskets by calling 205-345-5093. Delivery options are available, but it's more than just flowers at Pat's Florist and Gourmet Baskets, 1010 Queen City.
Can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard. As you know, it's one of my favorite places. Eat Southern, be Southern, the daily lunch and dinner specials, the great menu that features that Southern cuisine, like the bacon wrap meatloaf, the fish and taters, the biscuit sandwiches, the great steaks, the great chicken entrees, great sandwiches, including the pickle burger, the Ale House burger, the yard bird, great desserts, and always that featured bread pudding that Brett Garner's cooking up. Let Southern Ale House cater your special event by calling Taylor at 205-248-7500. Call ahead orders always welcome. Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard.
The best breakdown of Alabama football in the state.
Something that you and Nick Kelly have got worked up here. I don't know. I mean, something that you're doing to aggravate him a little bit. I don't know what it is. Nick Kelly, I apologize for the walk-up music. That was all Wyatt Fulton, so I hope all is well, Nick.
All is well, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
It's good to be able to talk with you. It's good to be able to hang out with you, and it's good to have media availability where we can actually go to practice. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Without a doubt, and just exciting to see some more practice and have new things to talk about and to watch some of the things that we spent all this time discussing and pontificating on. And so it's just, I'm just giddy to have that time back in practice.
Absolutely. And it allows us to do our job in a better way, right? It's not, less speculation and looking at your eyes. But let's just go back to Kane Wommack, the press conference, media availability following practice. What was your big takeaway from his conversation? I know you've written about it here at AL.com.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm going to be wearing a sweatshirt outside anytime soon, but there should be a method to his madness for doing that. And I respect it, and I don't know if that I will take part, but I respect it nonetheless. But yeah, I think the biggest thing that you hear from a guy like Kane, I mean, one, he sounds like a head coach. That's because he has been one. So he's very comfortable in front of the media. He can crack some jokes. He can have a little fun with it. So I enjoyed talking to him, frankly. But also, he's a guy who you can tell he's trying to take some leadership in the way that he's approaching the defense, the mindset he's trying to instill. Like, he talked about how much he wants his defense not to start slow. He saw some of it last year when looking back at Alabama's tape. He also saw some of that in the spring game, in the A-Day game, starting slow. And so he wants his guys to be relentless and attack things right away and not play on your heels from the beginning. So that was a point that he made today that I thought was pretty profound and a tone he's trying to set with the defense.
Nick, and I know this is a generic question, but we have played like the defense is going to be the weakness part of this team. 2 days in, I'm not saying that this team can be 2011, but are we underestimating this defensive unit over there, or do you still have a lot of questions?
I mean, we could be, but at the same time, the biggest question marks on the team to me are on defense.
Sure.
It's cornerback and pass rush. Not necessarily because it's not there, it's just we don't know. With all the turnover they had in the secondary, it's well documented. I think they'll be fine at safety. They got Malachi Moore and Keon Sabb there, but what does corner look like? I mean, Damani Jackson sounds like he's been pretty good, but I'm really not sure what that other spot is going to look like and who's going to be there, just because there's a lot of unknowns. And so really that to me is a big question mark, but it doesn't really matter how good your corners are if you don't have a pass rush. And for the first time in a bit, there's not a guy there who's, he's going to be the apex, attacker, if you will, on defense. Will Anderson's not there. Dallas Turner's not there. Chris Braswell's not there. And so we'll see if Quindarius Robinson can be that guy. I mean, Q's got a lot of good things, but he's just kind of unproven, even though he's a veteran guy. So I think there's a ton of question marks that need to be answered, and how they are answered, frankly, Ryan, I think will determine much of the season.
Let's Let's go back to the edge guys when you look at it. Who do you think is in the spot? Like if I said, who's going to lead this team in sacks? Do you have a guy that you're keeping an eye on? Maybe somebody that can emerge? I mean, I know you've mentioned a couple of names, but anybody that you would say, hey, this guy's got a chance to lead Alabama in sacks?
Yeah, I mean, Q Robinson will be toward the top of that list.
And you've written about him, I think, today.
Yeah, just today. And I think a leader there. I got to witness a moment, Ryan, today at practice where he stepped in to help some of the freshmen in a drill and demonstrate it for them. And so he's a leader. He knows what he's doing. Whether that translates to him leading the team in sacks or pressures, we'll see. But if he starts at Wolf like we expect him to, or he's in a good spot to be at. I mean, Keanu Kood is another guy who's, I think, high up on that list. But, I think there's the opportunity is going to be there for Robinson to lead the team in sacks and pressures. But another guy who could excel is Jamarian Latham. I mean, he's going to have some opportunities in that bandit spot. I'm guessing it's going to be a mix of him and LT Overton getting reps there, but that's going to be a position to rush the quarterback and get after the passer. So those would be some of the guys that I'm looking at to maybe lead the team in pressures or sacks.
You know, one of the things that we talked about in the 2 o'clock hour is the talent at wide receivers. You may not see some of the names that we were very familiar with last year, but that wide receiver room looks pretty deep. There's some talent in that receiver room.
Without a doubt. And again, somewhat unproven, but at the same time, not really. I mean, Jeremy Bernard was buried a little bit on that Washington depth chart, but there's some ridiculous talent they had a receiver last year. We saw what Jeremy could do in the spring game. So I think there's a lot to like there with Jeremy Bernard. And you got Kendrick Law, who's shown some flashes, but I think with a bigger opportunity, he's going to do some really big things. And I think a lot of people are excited about him just because of what he can do athletically. I mean, he's super strong, super fast. That's a good combination as a receiver. As long as he can catch the football, that's something you can use. And even just finding ways to use him on maybe a jet sweep or different things that are closer to the line of scrimmage and let him use that speed. And then, to me, the interesting part is what does that third spot look like? Brian Williams could be the guy. That'd be a big learning curve just because he joined after the spring. But obviously there's a lot to like talent-wise there. Then you got guys like Kobe Prentice or even a Caleb Odom, Brian. I mean, think about a guy who just an athletic mismatch. Whether it's this year or future years, I'm really intrigued to see what he can do because he's 6'5". He's got long arms. I mean, he made a few impressive catches yesterday in practice that I saw. And so, I mean, a lot of guys that have potential, and we'll just see kind of who rises above the rest.
Yeah, and that defensive line group, and I know we're kind of skipping around here going back, and even without LT Overton, when you look over at that group, that's a large number of people. When you look at that defensive line group, I don't know exactly how many defensive linemen they have on scholarship, but that is a big group in the practice side of things.
No doubt. I mean, you look at experience there. There's plenty of it. I mean, Tim Keenan, Team Otis, Tim Smith, Jamarian Latham. I mean, just a lot of guys who play a lot of football. But it's going to be key. I mean, I think in some ways the defensive line has been really solid the last few years, but also it's maybe not been as dominant as Alabama fans have been used to from some defensive linemen they've had over the years. Now, of course, that high standard can be a little bit difficult to attain in any position, but that's kind of what the expectation is. And so I think even though you have some experience, names that have been around, I think you also want to see some of those guys take the next step and reach that potential that we've heard about and seen for a good couple years. And so I'm really curious, Ryan, to see kind of who of that group rises above the rest.
Tight end wise, who do you feel like can be playmakers in that room?
I think if they're smart, they'll use C.J. Dupree more. I mean, really, they had turned to him a ton last year, in part because he had an Amari Niblack who's more of a pass catcher. But, I mean, C.J., when he caught the ball, he was pretty reliable. And Washington, even though they had the stud receivers they did, they still got their tight end, I think 40 catches, something like that. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think there's going to be an opportunity there. And C.J.'s a strong, tall, dependable guy. Mainly, they used him for his blocking, and he can do that. But he also has some solid hands. I think he had that, was it like a 45-yard catch against UCF last year, or USF, I should say. So I think he's an intriguing option. And we'll see kind of where the other guys fall into. You got Josh, the Washington transfer, and Robbie Hoots, and Danny Lewis, just people like that have intriguing skill sets. But I think CJ's a potential mismatch is someone that I think to help Jalen Milroe develop in his short passing game could be a great option.
You know, we had Kane Womack that mentioned Justin Jefferson as far as the inside linebacker, and the way that they listed Deontay Lawson and the Jihad Campbell and also Justin Jefferson. Kind of the way that I was listening to it, maybe co-starters, or I'm not exactly sure how the word to use. But this is kind of coming from the audience. Is there any way, if they're not comfortable with one of those outside guys, could you see one of those guys filling into that role if they need a more veteran leadership type position until some of the younger guys are ready?
You're talking as like an edge rusher?
Yeah, just with that experience, because we've seen it in the past in Nick Saban's system where they'll drop a guy out if they feel pretty comfortable. But if they feel really, really good about those inside backers with Lawson, Campbell, and Justin Jefferson, just a thought.
Yeah, I guess you could try him there. There can be some flexibility, and sometimes that works out well. But they strike me more as inside guys. I guess Jihad, didn't he start technically as an outside backer?
He did. Yeah, he did.
That's right. Yeah, man, it feels.
That's a long time ago. Yeah, he did.
Yeah. But no, you could always try it, but I also think that Jihad and Deontay especially could be a force in the middle this year if they can stay healthy together. So also, you don't necessarily want to rob yourself of two guys who could be really, really good in the middle. But yeah, maybe. Who knows? Maybe they decide that, we don't like what we have on the outside, so we want to move someone else out there that's in the middle, and then we'll use another guy inside. So it is a bit of a puzzle piece that you put together, but if it's me at least, I think you want to try to keep Jihad and Deontay together in the middle to start.
We're talking to Nick Kelly, AL.com. In your opinion, how close is this competition when you look at it? Because I looked at your depth chart prior to season starting as far as the practices. You went with Wilkin Formby at that right tackle spot. Certainly Elijah Pritchett playing the left tackle could be rotated over the right side. How close is that competition between Elijah Pritchett and Wilkin Formby, in your opinion?
I think very close. I think that Elijah had a good spring, and they like what he's done in the field. Wilkin also has done some really good things. And even watching, I pretty much focused on the O-line today at practice, Ryan, and Wilkin's got some good bursts. And some, I know that term isn't necessarily used with offensive linemen very often, but I really like the way that he just kind of got out of his stance and got after it. So there's a lot to like there. But Pritchett sounds like he's developed well. He was a fairly highly touted recruit. So I think there's going to be really good competition. And I think the assumption is that Gabe Proctor will take that left tackle job back. For what we got to see in limited media viewing period, it was Pritchett with the first group, and I think you have to do that when a guy spent all spring with you and Proctor left. But I think the expectation is probably that Proctor will take that left tackle spot back. And it's a matter of who wins out at right tackle, and whoever does it probably is that swing tackle that they need to have.
A lot of things to watch. Nick, let me throw it back to you. Just take as much time as you need. Promote AL.com and the team that you guys have got there covering the University of Alabama.
Yeah, appreciate it, Ryan. AL.com is where you can find all our coverage. I think just today alone we have at least 10 stories. Lots of good video. Our video team is really good, too. So, yeah, come check us out and join us for the coverage.
AL.com. And also you can find Nick Kelly straight up on the Twitter account. You can find him at _Nick Kelly, at _Nick Kelly. So you got to put the underscore right there and then just spell out the name, Nick Kelly, AL.com. Beat reporter covering the University of Alabama. Hey, Nick, always, man, enjoy our day off. I know we've been out there grinding for the last couple of days, but we got a big weekend. Saturday and Sunday we'll be in Tuscaloosa, and I'm sure that a lot of coverage right there available, AL.com. So enjoy what will be a mini day off early on in camp. Thanks so much, Nick.
Thanks, Ryan, for having me, and we'll see you this weekend.
Hey, absolutely. Thank you. Nick Kelly helping us out there. A lot of topics around the University of Alabama. We'll go back to some of that audio. We've also got to go back to Kalen DeBoer audio, and we'll do that. We are free the rest of the way home. We want to get you involved in the phone calls. Just based on what you're hearing, you feel a little better about this football team that you did Monday or even last week? We'll take your calls. Coming up next, T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
With only 43 seconds remaining, facing a 4th and goal from the 31-yard line at Jordan-Hare Stadium, Quarterback Jalen Milroe finds himself under immense pressure, scrambling to connect with Isaiah Bond in the corner of the end zone for a miraculous come-from-behind victory over Auburn. The jaw-dropping 27-24 result came on the 10th anniversary of the Kick Six. Daniel Moore is proud to announce 4th and 31, his upcoming oil painting featuring the now famous Gravedigger play. New Life Art is now accepting pre-orders for limited edition fine art prints and canvases of 4th and 31. See the preliminary pencil sketch for the artist's full color painting at danielmooreart.com. Pre-order your art.
Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Nuke's Eatery, they're on the fringe of the campus of the University of Alabama, close enough that you can smell the championships. The Nuke's Q sandwich, still the number one sandwich across the franchise. The French dip sandwich, I think, is going to challenge for that number one spot. The double club, the single club, you can pair those up with a great sandwich, salad, California-style pizzas, all available for catering from a group of 5 to 500, a small office party to a large corporate event. Joel Bromfield, they've done a great job for my family. They'll do a great job for you. 205 University Boulevard, 205-758-2455. Nuke's Eatery, close enough that you can smell the championships.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
This afternoon, we're under a heat advisory until 9 p.m. this evening. Temperatures climbing to 97 under partly cloudy skies. A few isolated storms pushing southeast out of the area. Tonight, mostly clear skies, the low near 77. Then tomorrow will be mostly sunny and hot. Highs topping out near 98 degrees with heat advisories likely needed again. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
You're listening to the home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Hey, we welcome you right back into the game. We're taking your phone calls. We actually have two lines available if you want to jump in. 205-342-9904. A lot of Alabama football topics of conversation. We're 2 days into camp, and it's been a hot couple of days, probably the hottest days that we've had in the month of July. I know we're in the month of August. Get out of here, July. College football starts this month. Let's take phone calls. 205-342-9904. 205-342-9904. Let's go to Tommy in Romulus. Tommy, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well, man.
All is well. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thank you. Well. All right, so Tommy, this is kind of the question we're throwing out today, okay? Just based on what you've heard, whether it's been from, one of our shows here on Tide 100.9, the media availability, because there's a lot of media doing great jobs, covering the University of Alabama. I'm curious, has it changed your opinion at all? I know we're 2 days in. I'm just saying it out there. We're only 2 days in.
Yes. I mean, I picked them go 10-2, then I changed it 11-1. I'm probably going to stick with that. Reason they go 12-0, the team chemistry and the team unity. This team is developing a unity and a chemistry like I haven't heard in the last 4 or 5 years since the 2020 season. I mean, through the COVID and all this. I mean, it's a oneness. We have a goal. We have a mission. I mean, we are focused on the mission and the task ahead. And I'm like, it's just not reading it from a teleprompter. They are telling you, hey, listen to me. We are serious, and we're going to do things. And we're going to win. And we're going to win big. And we're going to revenge last year. That's how I want to hear. I want them what else can you ask for them after 2 days of practice?
You're not asking to go out there and, I know what you're saying. You're not going out there saying, hey, this team's going to win a national title. But I think where a lot of us are underestimated, and I say even myself, right? When you look at this defensive side of the football and you're going through and you're like, man, there's some dudes over there. I mean, college football, I think a big part of it, Tommy, is we're so accustomed to what it took to win under Coach Saban. College football's changed, Tommy. College football has changed. What won 5 years ago would be dominant now. Because it's been a little bit, I don't want to use the watered down word, but the talent has spread out. It's all across. The depth is not there. You have to count on players at a quicker age.
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody's getting good. Everybody's getting good coaches, and everybody is investing money in their facility. Georgia have. Texas A&M have. I mean, Heaven Sakes, Missouri moving up. Ole Miss has. So, yeah. And it's harder to recruit because, hey, man, we have a practice indoor facility. Well, so does Alabama. So does Ole Miss. Well, yeah, you got to make a good sales pitch, and you got to connect with the recruit and the players when you get here. And they got to be coached up. I mean, it sounds simple, but it is simple, but it's not. You gotta be an A-game coach to have an A-game team. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, I was worried about the secondary. I mean, I was really disappointed when Kalen Down went to Ohio State. I said, that just broke the secondary. And that was back in January. Now, we're going to miss them, but we're not going to sorely miss them. All right?
Well, he could have been a big-time All-American here. The way they feature the safety here, Caleb Downs, could have been an absolute dynamic playmaker. Instead,
he can be up.
We wish you nothing but the best because that's what we're supposed to say. Fair enough?
Fair enough. You wish him the best, you know? But, I mean, that hurt because I watched the Georgia replay and other games. I'm like, in the Army game, I'm like, he was coming into his own as a freshman. He wasn't playing as a freshman no more. He was playing like a junior. And I can see him down the road, but it won't be here as a captain of the team. But like you said, we wish him the best. I mean, but I'm real happy with the people who are coming in and the people who transfer in. They want to be here. Let's get behind them. I mean, I don't have anything else to say about that. I mean, get behind the team. I mean, are we going to have up and down? Sure we are. We're going to have growing pains. That's why you play a football season. That's why there's 12 games in a season or more. So, I mean, no. Yeah, every day I get more and more excited about the upcoming season. Like I said, I am going to watch football tonight. I know it's going to be rookies and people trying to make the team, but hey, that's all right. By the way, the women won their basketball game in the Olympics, and comment about the other things in the Olympics. I am getting more and more every day disgusted with the Olympics.
Well, I watched the young lady that after the boxing match, they had to put her on a stretcher and roll her out, and I'm just going.
I'm going to tell you something. I watched some films of junior high games. My friend said, you got to see this crap of a 5'11" or 6 foot ninth grader playing junior high, beating the crap out of a little girl. He hurt 4 girls on the opposite team. The coach finally threw the towel in. I got one question. Well, you know, blah, blah, activity, all this crap, big words. Not one intentional foul was called against this young man. I'm sorry, he's a boy, all right? I don't care he has hair to his butt. He has an Adam apple. He's a young man and the other thing. I mean, not one intentional foul. And I'm like, if that son of a gun did that to my child or grandchildren or my little twins, that official, I'd be in jail. Y'all be bailing me out. Because I would have pulled that whistle through his ears. Because that is just ridiculous. That's not sports. That's abusing young girls and women.
Well, but I mean, how do you, if you're a competitor, and you've worked your entire athletic career to get to this point and to be robbed by somebody who is not what they say they are, what do you say? I mean, I it's weird, and I know it's social network, but, when you see this, anyway, I mean, I'm trying to get back to football because I'm going to say something I probably regret saying. Because
I can say it for you. Just whisper in my ear. I have no regret.
Yeah. That's. I mean, I'm literally watching a video clip with a stretcher of this particular female that got hurt, and I'm just sitting there going, I mean, what does people with daughters think? I mean, I have a daughter. No, she was not a boxer. She was not a volleyball player, but I saw the video clip, and like I said, we featured Tommy Tuberville, and I asked him a couple of days ago. I said, I mean, this feels like common sense to the majority of us. Why can it not be? I mean, have we really went to this level of?
Okay, I know Paul wouldn't say it. God is going to judge it. I'm going to flat out say this: what they do in the young women's sports is an abomination. Okay, I say it. If it pisses people off, so be it. I mean, when you're beautiful, Georgia just kicked a football players off for abusing his family. And most of the time, it's children and your spouses or your mother. It's something. We got to stop violence toward women. I'm like, this is legal violence towards women in the sporting world. Okay, I'm going to catch hell for this one. We making collegiate sports and high school like wrestling. I'm sorry if I upset somebody. Sorry, Jumbo. That is scripted. This is not. This is just attacking. Oh, I'm stronger than you. I am going to beat you down.
Heck, I might have been a professional athlete if I could have switched genders and went over and participated on there. I mean, I might be able to make it to next level. What do they call it? Powder puff football? I mean, Tommy, I might have been legit over there, man. I mean, instead of no roll. Anyway, kind of manufacturing competition out of our society and, just letting people be who they want to be. And it is.
Well, and they kill women's sport. You've seen the double NBA.
Well, but for a group that kind of says, well, we're behind females, are you really?
No. No. I got so mad.
Little strange. Strange. And I know people out there that don't have kids. I get it. You probably don't have the same feelings. But, this woke stuff is unique.
If you brutalize my two little twins, God forbid
but I'm telling you what it's going to take, Tommy, is this athletes not competing. In other words, you go out there and you're playing up against a dude that wants to be a female, then just don't compete. Go home. And when these televisions have nothing to air and there's nothing up there, then they'll realize, hey, you know what? We got to start enforcing a little bit different rules. But as long as we support it, we share it all over social networks and we put it on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and we comment, it's the publicity they're looking for. Tommy, I appreciate you, man. Have a great rest of your day.
All right. I'm sorry we didn't talk football.
Roll Tide. Roll Tide. All right, we're taking phone calls. If you want to jump in, 205-342-9904. 205-342-9904. Tide 100.9, the home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Dan Byer.
Gold again for American Simone Biles. She claimed the all-around gold in women's gymnastics today, while Suni Lee took home bronze. As for Biles, she becomes the first woman in almost 60 years to win 2 Olympic all-around titles in her career. She also claimed the gold in the 2016 games in Rio. Women's basketball and Team USA's just picked up a win over Belgium. Final score 87-74. While in swimming, American Kate Douglas took home the gold in the women's 200 meters meter breaststroke. In the NFL, Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert will be in a walking boot for 2 weeks. The team says he has an injury to the plantar fascia in his right foot, but the team believes that he will be available for their Week 1 game against the Raiders. Bears and Texans play the Hall of
With Ox Home Services. Call Ox Home Services today at 205-979-0946 or visit oxhomeservices.com.
Blue Spring Living Water is located in Bluntsville, Alabama, Blount County, about an hour north of Birmingham. Blue Spring Living Water is harvested and bottled from a centuries-old natural spring on a private family farm. Blue Spring is an all-natural water source that flows just under 1 million gallons a day. They have partnered with Waterway of Alabama, and they've been in the water delivery business for over 30 years. To have Blue Spring Living Water delivered right to your home, right to your front door every month. New customers get their 5 jugs for $50, and the empties are exchanged every month for new ones. I know we have it at the Fowler household. We drink more water because of BlueSpringLivingWater.com. You can sign up at 205-602-3426. Talk to someone directly. Blue Spring Living Water can also be found Mark Smart down
Way, where a handshake still means something. Shop online at Mercedes-Benz of Tuscaloosa.com or at 3200 Skyland Boulevard. Roll Tide for Mercedes-Benz of Tuscaloosa.
Big Mike's downtown Moundville, only about 15 minutes from where I'm located. Also in Gunnersville, Alabama, Thomasville, Andalusia, Auburn, Alabama, Orange Beach. You'll find one of the best steaks in the state of Alabama, voted by the Alabama Cattlemen's Association and many other great publications recognizing the great ribeye, the seafood entrees. You'll find those, the great service. It is Big Mike's downtown Moundville. If you're looking for a great steak, Wednesday through Saturday, 4 until 10, Big Mike's downtown Moundville.
I got spirit, I got faith. I might bend, but I won't break. I'll fight the elements. And I'ma go down swinging.
This ain't our home, nah, not even close. They camouflage like we fighting some ghosts. You start to doubt everything that you know. I feel the heat and it's starting to show. They try to break us, make us wanna give in. Lay down our arms, provocate us again. Lay down a fight, I can never relent. And I'ma take it all the way to the end.
The elements. I'll fight the elements. I got spirit, I got faith. I might bend, but I won't break. I'll fight the elements. And I'ma go down swinging. If I go down.
Hey, we welcome you right back into the game. We're coming back with a little Nate Oates' group. Nate Oates' group, always fun. Toby Mac. We're taking phone calls. We'd love to hear from you. 205-342-9904. 205-342-9904. We'll get to Robert and Brookwood coming up here in just a couple of minutes, but I want to go back real quick. We are always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com, 3325 Skyland Boulevard, and online at TuscaloosaToyota.com. The great dealership right there. 30 days away from Alabama Crimson Tide football, brought to you by Alabama Credit Union. So we are powered every single day by those guys. We appreciate that. Tomorrow we'll do a little free-for-all Friday, sponsored by Brian Hard Construction. We are taking your phone calls right now at 205-342-9904. A lot of excitement around this Alabama football program. We're 2 days in, and looks like a pretty solid football team. Now, listen, anything could happen. You know, this is the one area, you know, you think about an injury. Okay, and I'm not even going to jinx it. I'm not going to say anything, but there's a couple of areas that you could be, you know, up a creek without a paddle at a couple of those injury spots if it happened to a certain position. Now, you're deep in some areas, but not really in some areas. I mean, you're really thin, and I think that's just the world of college football. I think that's why you're seeing so much cross-training going on. You know, when you look at the 3-tackle rotation, when you look at Caden Proctor, yeah. But, I mean, it's pretty valuable that you got Elijah Pritchett some time at that left tackle spot and still kind of battling with that left tackle spot. Yeah, you want to make Caden Proctor earn it, but then that right tackle spot, that's a battle within itself. But you have 3 tackles that you're pretty comfortable with, and even bringing in some other guys. So appreciate Nick Kelly. Also appreciate Rodney Orr. So we are done the rest of the way. Let's go back to Kane Wommack because he talked about defensive scheme and the pressure that he's going to put on, but on his coverage and defensive scheme. I thought the one fun part about what we do, Wyatt, is we get a chance to talk with coaches. And for 2 that is really in particular, when you get a chance to talk to Mo Linguist and you get a chance to talk to Kane Wommack, both those guys have been head coaches. They know how to handle the media. I mean, and you could see it when you talk to both these guys. High energy, but this is what Kane Wommack said earlier about his coverage and defensive scheme.
Well, I think there's natural instincts, right, that are built into, young men, right, and then there's developed, I don't know if instinct is the right word, right, but they hone in on their skills and they start to have an instinct for the scheme and what we do defensively. And the way we're structurally built is we want to allow our guys to be able to break on the ball, to play with some vision at times. And when you play with instinctive vision, the windows start to get really tighter. So people have a misconception of vision coverage, right, that it's all this space out there. Really what you're doing is you're taking away the grass and the people that the quarterback is wanting to get the ball to, right? And so you see our players naturally starting to get a little bit more matchy with some of their coverage when we play some of our vision style coverages, and then just having a better feel for our defense. If you look at us last season and you look at us in the spring, I didn't think we started particularly well on defense early in games, and then we started to hit our stride as the game went on. We've really encouraged our guys to start playing, not on their heels, but be the aggressor early, and that means playing with some instincts, and I think we're seeing that.
All right, so you listen to Kane Wommack, and like I said, we've got Mo Linguist audio. We've also got Kalen DeBoer audio, and let's move on. Let's take phone calls. 205-342-9904. Robert Brookwood. Robert, the excitement building around this Alabama football team. I hope all is well.
All is well, brother. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's life is good. It's
what time are they practicing every day? What time do they start?
Well, 9 a.m. is, I think, when they allow us in, and sometimes that's a couple of minutes after 9. I think at 9:05 today. But we're getting a lot of time too.
They don't go much past 11 because of the heat setting in, or they go indoors.
No. They're not indoors unless the weather forces them. At least. So far, they've been all outside.
That's what I'm saying. They don't go much past 11 a.m. because it gets so hot. Then do they go indoors then, or they just call it?
No. It's over about 11:20, 11:15, something like that. So they get a little bit of a, I'm sure little team meetings in that as well. A lot of times they'll take a knee and bring them in and say, hey, but no, nothing inside. I mean, they do have coolers out there. They have.
Yeah.
Refrigeration system that you can bring the players in and get them cooled down. But they also
so it'll be shorts yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and then full pads starting Monday. How does it work?
Used to be a 3-day acclimation period. I would imagine probably Sunday's first day in pads. So I think if the rules, there's so many rules that have changed. I mean, it's all over the place, right? But it was 3-day acclimation period, and then you could bring on. So my guess is they'll probably go. Shoulder pads, helmet, and this is absolutely a guess. It's just a guess. I'd say Sunday's probably first day in pads, but that has. I'm really stretching because I'll be honest with you, I just don't know. But it used to be 3-day acclimation period, then the pads would come on. So I assume that's why Kalen DeBoer is going to be talking on Sunday. So he will talk 9:20. Is when practice starts. What is it, about 11:40? Yeah, 11:40 on Sunday morning. So,
Yep, exciting time of the year, man. It won't be long. Seems like it has been a quick off season, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been busy, Robert. It's been busy. But, I mean, okay, based on what you're hearing, whether it's myself, whether it's Martin, whether it's Gary, you've seen some video, you feel better about this football team? Or is it still too early?
It's a little too early, but then again, I've never felt bad about them because Nick Saban left us in good shape.
Fair. Fair.
It's not like he took over a program that he's got to rebuild. I mean, it's kind of like Les Miles coming to LSU. Nick had all that talent left there. Any coach that steps into a position. Even Kirby, his first year, kind of getting used to the system. I think he went 8-4, but after that, Mark Richt didn't leave them in bad shape. Mark Richt just got fired because he couldn't, for going 10-2 every year.
Well, 15 years,
he win a big game.
Yeah, he averaged 10 wins a year. 10 wins a season when you look at Mark Richt, man. He was a pretty solid football
But you never
coach.
had no controversy with Mark. His players seem to stay in line. Kirby just seems to have had a bad summer. And I ain't going to blame Kirby. Kids are different today than just what they were 5 or 6 years ago. But some seem to be upset about, Georgia fans love winning. They love where they're at. Kirby would have to commit adultery like Bobby Petrino did or murder somebody or go 3-8 before they get rid of him. It's too much. Any programs like it, it'd probably be like they're here at Alabama. You want to win. And I shouldn't have said like that here at Alabama. We fired a coach because he went to a strip joint. He might have won 10 games his first year, prize. But Georgia.
But going back to Georgia's got a little problem on their hands. I mean, they've created a culture. We talk about culture. We talk about a vibe here in Tuscaloosa. And I'm not saying, listen, something could happen this weekend. Who knows? But Georgia's got a little problem on their hands. This winning has went to their head, and now there's no, seriously, because I've covered football teams that had an entitlement mentality. That Georgia team has got an entitlement mentality. That's just who they are right now. They feel like they're above the law. Hey, I want to go 95 on a speed limit. No problem. I want to drag race down the middle of a public street. No problem. If I want to go out here and beat up a kid, no problem. I mean, look at it.
Well, I don't understand them being like that because it's not like they've dominated Alabama during this time. They're 1-5.
But they've never been to this area. I mean, they won 2 national titles, Robert. It's never happened in their program. So they're in uncharted water for their program. It's how do you handle it? How do you handle the success? Even a coach like Nick Saban, Alabama won 2 in a row, 3 out of the last 4. I started watching around here. And really, if you want to look at 2010, Robert, there was no reason that team should not have won a national title. That team was just as talented in 2010 as they were in 2009. What was it that prevented them? Attitude. That's why I keep talking about the attitude here. There is a different vibe in this building. And I'm glad that there's other people that have said it. Nick said it a couple of minutes ago. Rodney said it in the 2 o'clock hour. You can feel it when you go in there. And I'm glad it's no longer just me out here, because this positive vibe, it's fun to cover. I mean, it's fun when you talk to players who are energized and happy to be there. Because many times
you can tell it's a different vibe, Ryan. You're right. You've been saying that. It's just different. So, when it was time for Nick to go away, brother. We said that. It wasn't his fault that he couldn't do it all by himself. He couldn't seem to hire a good staff. I think we didn't like it at the time, but I think now looking back, it was the perfect opportunity to walk away.
The system was a little dated. The rumor was they didn't have any fun in Tuscaloosa. It was all business. No fun. And really, many times I'd read that article and I'd be like, they're right. I mean, you'd see a player come into media availability and he didn't have the same energy as what the players now. And I'm not saying that's going to pay off to wins and losses. But, Robert, if this thing continues, we just ordered a special 18-wheeler full of crow. I hope it doesn't go to waste is all I got to say.
Yeah.
Because
I'm still sticking with my prediction I made back in the spring. I think if we lose one game, it's going to be the Georgia game, but then we'll get them again.
Now your buddy Jumbo, he said a couple of days ago he thinks this is a national championship team.
No, I didn't say they wasn't national championship. I just said I think they're going to lose a game, and I don't mind that. To me, with a 12-team playoff, let's be honest, Ryan, there's no pressure to try to go undefeated. There was so much pressure to try to go. Remember when we lose to Ole Miss? Everybody, that's it. But we went on and won. The pressure was to win out. Now, you're most likely going to get in that top 12 with 2 losses. So I think, of course, you want the pressure. You want the top 4 to get a bye, but still, 1 loss is not going to panic and end the season. I hope to God they beat Georgia. I can't stand them, but I just always felt like Georgia's going to get us. You said something just a few minutes ago. Injuries. Georgia's been, with their little run they've had the last few years, you know this, Ryan, they've been fairly injury-free.
Yeah, they have. I mean, a
lot of that's to do with the competition they play, too, though.
But I know we kind of talk about it from an Alabama perspective, but deep down inside, they know, like they're excited about coming to Tuscaloosa, but they're also nervous too.
Yeah, we've discussed that. Pressure's on Kirby too. If he loses this one, the fan base probably is. Well, when can you beat Alabama?
Yeah, I mean, well, you know what? So, they will literally pack up their bags and go home. They're not going to quit fighting, but they may just say, you know what? We hope we can avoid Alabama in the playoff, and somebody else can take them out because we can't.
Well,
I mean, we are living. You know, as you know, we live rent-free in Digger's Head from Texas. Alabama lives rent-free also in Georgia's Head. Okay? It's what it is.
Well, welcome to the SEC, Texas. I don't think you're going to be as great as you think you are.
And you know what? Playing a one-game schedule, that's one thing. Do it week in, week out. Week in, week out. And even the smaller teams where you're like, okay, that's a free one. That's easy. Come on, man. We can take care of that.
Well, over the years, I've heard pundits say that even Vanderbilt in our league, you know, a lot of they'll say, you know, Vanderbilt's a tough team, but physical-wise, and then you just outman them and have more depth, but they would probably finish middle of the pack in another league. That's just the SEC for you.
Well, and they get beat up. But, I mean, you look at Texas. I mean, as we run through the schedule quickly, right? You've got the Michigan Wolverines, okay, which that's not the national champ Michigan Wolverines. That team was pretty depleted. But then you start the SEC play. Mississippi State's your first SEC home game. Then Oklahoma. Okay, well, you're pretty accustomed to that. But then you play Georgia. So you play Oklahoma and Georgia back-to-back.
I didn't know that.
And then you go to Vanderbilt. Okay, that's a sleeper. Then you go to Florida. Okay, that's a sleeper. I mean, they actually have a really good schedule, to be honest with you. I mean, no wonder we're picking Texas. I mean, they play – I mean, think about this. Vanderbilt, Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, Texas A&M back-to-back-to-back. I mean, that's
well, they're at Texas A&M, and I like to see A&M. I think A&M to win that one. That's going to be a big motivation
Robert,
game.
As much as I dislike Texas A&M, go Aggies, gig them.
I know. I agree with you.
Yeah, because
it wasn't really Texas A&M program, brother. It was Jimbo Fisher because, you know, we're like cousins to them. They gave us Jackie Sherrill, who turned around, you know, and Gene Stallings, Bear Bryant coach. There's a lot of tie-ins. So that personally had nothing against their program. They just got a little arrogant under Dumbo.
But you know, when you think about Texas and Texas A&M, you know, if there's one thing that Texas will bring to this league is I think that we're going to start liking Texas A&M a little bit more because we're going to realize how much crap they had to put up with. I mean, Texas A&M has to put up with a lot of crap from those Longhorn fans.
So unless they leave the SEC, you know, there's rumors about that.
They're not going anywhere. It's too big of a payday. They're not going to run. But, you know, deep down inside, I'm going to be going, you know, go Aggies. Gig them. I mean, you know, Coach Sprite played there, so we got an excuse why we can pull for them. But to have to put up with that bunch from Austin every single day, yeah, deep down inside, I hope that trip to Texas A&M, Kyle Field.
Yeah.
Go Aggies.
All right, brother.
Go Aggies. Thanks,
Have
Robert.
a good one.
Thanks, man. We appreciate it. Thank you. We'll come back. We'll take, oh, no, not him. Next, T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
This hour's West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
The manager of a Tuscaloosa restaurant made an apology after admitting to using a racial slur. Now the Tuscaloosa NAACP has acknowledged the public apology and has called for specific actions. Read more at TuscaloosaThread.com. And as the month of August kicks off, it's also one of the prime hurricane season development timeframes. We are closely watching a tropical wave that has the potential to become a tropical depression and what that means for Alabama. And a new business alert happening happening this weekend as the new-to-market Cookie Plug Bakery opens on McFarland Boulevard in Northport.
Get 24/7 local news coverage and sports updates when you download the free Tuscaloosa Thread app and sign up for twice daily email newsletters. Tide 100.9 Traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Happy Thursday to you. And we're moving right along on McFarland Boulevard westbound after an earlier accident just before Airport Road. But don't let your guard down, because in Duncanville, we also have a accident on McFarland Boulevard.
At the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org.
El Grant is the great Mexican place in Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Go over and see my friends Carlos, 205-391-4555, 62 McFarland Boulevard, Monday through Thursday from 11 until 9:30, Friday and Saturday 11 until 10:30, Sunday also open 11 until 9. You'll find the great daily lunch specials. You'll find great entrees.
For your engagement, anniversary, or birthday. Come experience the difference of shopping local. Visit Hudson Pool Fine Jewelers, downtown Tuscaloosa, or at hudsonpool.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
This afternoon, we're under a heat advisory until 9 p.m. this evening. Temperature climbing to 97 under partly cloudy skies. A few isolated storms pushing southeast out of the area. Tonight, mostly clear skies, the low near 77. Then tomorrow will be mostly sunny and hot. Highs topping out near 98 degrees with heat advisories likely needed again. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
The best sports talk show in all of Alabama.
This just in, Austin Statesman fake reports that Texas is going back to the Big 12. They realize that they have bitten off more than they can chew. Okay. Yes, I made every single bit of that up, but it sounds good. Digger, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Brian, you got it ass backwards, man. I don't ever call, and you can go back over every show unless you bring up Texas. Okay, we are living rent-free in your cavernous skull. You got it all ass backwards. I'm not going to call unless you, and I swear to you, you can't go a half an hour without bringing up Texas. Whether it's Isaiah Bond, you have a big hang-up about us coming in there, beating you by double digits, and now you know we're coming in your backyard and you want us to wreck the conference again. Come on, what's the matter with you? Enjoy the little visit, why don't you?
Well, go Aggies. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
When Texas...
That's the other thing. You know how ridiculous you sound when you say go Aggies?
Gig 'em!
Gig 'em, Aggies.
Gig 'em! Gig 'em! Hey, I can accept the cult a little bit more. Listen, I Texas A&M, they're a bunch of weirdos. Bunch of weirdos.
Guess what I'm doing? Hey, guess who's practicing right now? Our Texas Longhorns are out there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You know why? Because they know that we brought that up this morning. Why are y'all doing this at 3 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yeah, why?
And he said, because our first game is in the afternoon on August 31st. You think it's going to be any cooler? He's getting the team ready. And I'm like, okay, you can do that. I just hope you don't get anybody hurt.
Well, okay, but in the world of college football, the NFL practices in the morning, but they play in the afternoon. Does it impact the way they play?
I don't know. Look.
It was your topic.
Man went 12-2 last year. His best year ever. I'm not going to question it. Okay? The man went into Tuscaloosa and beat y'all by 10 points. I'm not going to question it. Okay? So I'm just saying. I thought it was a little unorthodox, too. I said, buddy, I hope nobody has a stroke out here because it's hot as 80. I'm sitting here drinking a peach frosé. And by the way, you need to tell Bama Nick, thank you for the PBRs. Okay, PBR is headquartered in San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, did Bama Nick send you some PBRs? Did he?
No, he's drinking them all. He's pretty much propping up that whole beer company. Having 6 a day.
All right, so are you? Do you know your beer brands? I mean, is it?
Yeah. Why?
Okay. Well, I'm just going to ask. How would you describe PBR to the average? Because I don't drink, so I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it's a Pilsner, and it's nasty. You drink it, it's worse than tea, Ryan. It'll go straight through you. I don't know how he can drink 6 and not go to the bathroom at least 10 times a day. My beers are Shiner Bock, Crawford and Company. They're dark brown beers, very flavorful, and I sip on it. I don't be chasing beers like Bud Light, PBRs, Coors Light. That's all for those idiot college boys who's going to have to buy a 12-pack and go to the bathroom every 10 minutes. You're pretty much renting the beer. It's the worst idea ever. I don't know why they drink that nasty-ass beer. And they get a 12-pack. And you got Bama Nick doing the same damn thing. It's horrible. You know, why would you drink all that nasty-ass Pilsner beer and it's Bud Light, Coors Light, PBR, you name it, it's out there. You know? I used to do that with Lone Star beer, and I learned my lesson.
All right, so Digger, let me go back to this just for a minute, okay? You brought up Sark a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah.
You think Sark, be honest with me, you think Sark's in the same league as Kalen DeBoer?
Well, no, it wouldn't be fair to say that. Because, listen, the only thing you can get out of Sark, and I'm being serious, I'm going to tell you this now because you keep bringing it up. Sarkisian is an upward trend right now. He had a bad couple of seasons in Washington and USC, and he was a train wreck. He goes to Alabama. Nick kind of coached him up. And by the way, I don't know if you knew this, Nick Saban pretty much saved his life. You know, Saban tells you to go and get a physical before the season starts, and Alabama will pay for it. Well, Sarkisian went in there and did a checkup, and they found out he had the Widowmaker. And he had to go and have heart surgery. Y'all remember that?
We do.
Yeah. And he said if that went undetected, he was a dead man.
I like Sark. I mean, I'm not going to say anything, but there's more to the story, and I'll just leave it at that.
Well, right. But, now he's going through a divorce with his second wife, and, he's claiming that it was a long time coming, and this is just old news to him. He's not going to bring it up, but still. The point I'm trying to make is the guy's on an upward trend. That's all you can say about it.
Well, I'm not going to pick on his personal issues, but as a Texas fan, is that a little bit concerning that could be a distraction? I mean, because
no, it's more time for Texas and less time for his wife.
That's a Texas ego right there. That's a Texas ego. There it is.
You don't have to worry. Look, I'm being dead serious. She was not like Miss Terry. Okay, she's very ambitious. She's a real dynamo. She wants to be a fashion designer. She's going to New York. And Sarkisian wasn't going to. Hold on, I'm on the phone, sweetie. All right, that's my sister. So she's going to New York while he stays down there. And guess what? He has more time for taxes.
Now hold on, is your sister a Alabama fan?
Oh no. She's an LSU fan.
Oh Lord, Digger. I mean, do you have any brothers? Any more sisters? What's?
I have a twin brother.
Okay. Who does he pull
I'll see him tonight. We're going to have pizza at a very famous pizza place in Austin.
Okay. So you're in Austin. What are you doing in Austin?
Yeah. Visiting.
Okay.
I wanted to go watch him, and I'm telling you, they're ready. I don't know why they're doing this at 3 p.m. And I went there yesterday, and I said, never again. This is too damn hot. Why are they doing this? And that's why we asked about it. So, yeah, they look good. They're in shape. and we're lined up. We're ready to go. We're going to see how they do in the SEC schedule. We're going to find out if they can hold up in this SEC schedule.
Well, and I guess this is probably the bigger question. Will Alabama fans be pulling for Texas or Georgia on October the 19th?
Well, y'all play them first. You'll be pulling for Texas if you lose to Georgia. Okay? If you beat Georgia, I'm sure you'll be pulling for Georgia to beat Texas. I know how it works. I'm telling you, don't worry about it. You just need to be concerned about Georgia right now. Because the first 3 games are...
I'm worried about Western Kentucky.
Oh, please. Okay, Tommy. Tommy from Romulus. Tommy. You know, by the way, I'm kind of upset at Tommy. He said he was going to opt for Iran instead of Auburn in a competition. What's the matter with you guys? At least Auburn is American. You're going to go in with Iran? Their best friend is Russia? I knew that dude was a commie. I knew it. He sounds like one, and he said he's from Romulus. I think he's from Russia. Yeah, Tommy, I'm calling you out. You're a Russian spy.
Oh, you think Tommy's a Russian spy? Okay.
Yeah, because he said he would root for Iran instead of Auburn. Come on, listen to me. By the way, I got a niece at Auburn. She starts next week.
Digger, the more I learn about your family, man, you got problems, man. I mean, you got a sister that pulls for LSU. You have someone going to Auburn. You pull for Texas. I mean, could there be more of a dysfunctional bunch? I mean, y'all...
and then you got my mother as an A&M Aggie.
Oh, hold on. Now we know.
What are you talking about?
So your mom's an Aggie. So you were that little rebellion kid that just refused to go...
In the 3rd grade, yes. Yes, I was a rebellious child.
Why didn't you listen to your mom, Digger? Why did you not listen to your mom?
Station, because I hated that place, man. It was like, oh, my God, this is the worst. Yes, I was in College Station. I went to 3rd grade, Crockett Elementary, and it was absolutely the worst place ever. So... yes, I have an A&M Aggie. My mother is an Aggie. She has 6 degrees. I'm not going to argue with her.
6 degrees?
And she very seldom 6.
So what do you do with 6?
Computer science, physical science, chemistry, German, Spanish, and French.
You come from a pretty smart family, Digger.
Well, of course. We're all smart. It's what you do with it, right, Ryan?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so I have a twin brother that's a big Texas fan. I have a sister who's a doctor. She's a big Stanford fan. She's a doctor. And then I have a sister who's an LSU fan, another sister that's an LSU fan. And then I have a nephew that's going to Alabama. I've got a niece that's going to Auburn. Oh, you got a nephew,
smartest guy of the bunch. He's going to Alabama?
He is, believe it or not. He just got back from Oxford. I was like, holy crap, what is he doing? I asked my brother, I said, hey, dude, this is not your son. He's probably the smartest guy in the whole family, I swear to you. And he just got back from England because he was studying at Oxford. And he's going back to Alabama to finish up his study. I'm like, holy cow, this is not your son. This has got to be the postman's son or something. Because you don't have any of his brain. He joked about it and said, I don't know, man. I think he's an alien. It's hilarious.
All
but
right.
he's a brilliant kid.
Tell your mom that she's got a good school, and I hope they pound those Longhorns. I hope you guys are undefeated until you get to Aggie Land, and I hope they destroy you guys on November the 30th. Oh, yeah.
Wishful thinking.
Well, it could be. It could be. But Coach Stallings went to the Aggies. I can pull for the Aggies.
Yeah, is he still in Paris, Texas?
He is. Powderly, Texas. Little north of Paris.
Oh. Good to check out his place. That would be cool.
Yeah. Tell him we sent you.
Yes. Later.
Thanks. Texas A&M. All right. I mean, but now we know when Digger calls in, he went rebellion against his parents. That's what they were Aggies. He wanted to be something different. We'll continue with more phone calls. We'll get to you next. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of...
Tuscaloosa is blessed to have such an excellent team at the Madison Cancer Center.
Great things are happening at DCH.
Northport Power Equipment, largest inventory Husqvarna dealer in the Southeast. You'll find the Husqvarna models for residential and the professional landscapers, Skag commercial mowers, residential mowers, backpack blowers, handheld blowers, battery-operated tools. The service department at Northport Power Equipment.
Starting at just $79.99. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
MedCenterUrgentCare.com. We expect the unexpected. Locations in Tuscaloosa, Northport, North River, right there off Rice Mine Road, Fayette, Demopolis, Hoover. The great doctors, urgent care, family medicine, injuries, occupational health, sports physicals. We do expect the unexpected. MedCenterUrgentCare.com. The online check-in available. Significantly reduce your wait time. The super doctors who live and work in Tuscaloosa. MedCenterUrgentCare.com.
Never miss a moment.
BamaStandards.com. 20-inch pizza, pie, pepperoni, meat lovers, cheese. Design your own. You can find that at The Standard Bama on University Boulevard. The Standard, thestandardbama.com. You can see the menu. You've got wings, boneless wings, mac and cheese bites, cheese sticks. TheStandardBama.com. TheStandardBama.com. Full-service restaurant, dine in, or have it delivered via DoorDash. We're taking more of your phone calls. Josh, I got pushed up against this break. Digger was long-winded. We'll get back to phone calls. Josh in Georgia. We'll get to you coming up in a couple of minutes. I want to go back to something Kane DeBoer said yesterday because we'll tie it together with what Kane Womack said. We'll do that next. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, I do have some good news for you. The earlier accident, keyword earlier, on McFarland westbound after Bear Creek Road. They've cleared that out of the way. And so now residual backups unwinding quite nicely. The usual round and about here on McFarland Boulevard in both the eastern...
We have exceptional pieces to mark your special occasion. Visit Hudson Pool Fine Jewelers, downtown Tuscaloosa, or at hudsonpool.com.
Pat's Florist and Gourmet Baskets in downtown Tuscaloosa, 1010 Queen City Avenue. For over 60 years, they've been serving our community. They specialize in a large inventory of fresh flowers, weddings, gourmet fruit baskets. If you're trying to lift someone's spirits, it is Pat's Florist Gourmet Baskets by calling 205-345-5093. Delivery options are available, but it's more than just flowers at Pat's Florist and Gourmet Baskets, 1010 Queen City
Street or your living room, wherever. Grab some cheesy street chalupas at a participating Taco Bell today.
For a limited time only while supplies last. Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
This afternoon, we're under a heat advisory till 9 p.m. this evening. Temperatures climbing to 97 under partly cloudy skies. A few isolated storms pushing southeast out of the area. Tonight, mostly clear skies, the low near 77. Then tomorrow will be mostly sunny and hot. Highs topping out near 98 degrees with heat advisories likely needed again. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
Where the legends of Alabama football hang out.
McCarron, draw play. Lacey, huge hole.
Touchdown. Yep. The other thing that we really haven't spent a lot of time talking about is how Jalen Milroe has really looked confident in throwing the football. There's something different about his mechanics, and that was not. I mean, listen, I was not the first one that pointed it out. Someone pointed it out to me, and started watching it, just kind of watching just a couple of minutes. The ball comes out quicker. He's never had a slow release, okay, but it was sometimes that he was just not very confident, and it almost made it look like a little bit because he was hesitant. I don't see that. Now, that's one of the things that we'll dive into coming up a little bit later with some of the quarterbacks, and we'll try to get some of these guys on maybe that can help us analyze what Jalen's going to be able to accomplish. But a lot of excitement around Jalen Milroe. Let's continue, and we go here to Josh, Georgia. Josh, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Good afternoon, Ryan. Day number 4 for me this week of calling in and being in the game because practice is here and it is football, and at least in the air. And I was sitting there at the Ford dealership after work, and I was getting my truck serviced and basic standard oil change, tire rotation, and whatnot. So I was listening to you, but I had went back and watched the videos you had put up today, and even went back and again watched the video from yesterday. And man, let me tell you something. That's some good-looking stuff right there that they're doing.
Josh, and this is the part that I think we've probably bitten off too much. We keep talking about, this Alabama football team. It's a talented football team.
For sure.
We were talking about it with Rodney Orr earlier. That wide receiver room's pretty solid, man.
I'm telling you, that deep on those deep balls that you had the video of, and he threw that deep ball to Kendrick Law. I'm like, dude. Like, all of them had a pretty deep ball. I was impressed by all 4 of them. And
what they're doing is they're trying to – that's not – it's a deep ball, but it's more of – what they're doing is maybe the wide receiver can – maybe we can get a wide receiver on to talk more about it, but they're just trying to track it down. So it's not like one of those that you're not quarterback's just not
so much as the quarterback.
Yeah,
it's not so much as the quarterback throwing the ball as is the receiver looking up and
it's
looking like, for the football.
It's like catching fly balls out in the outfield. That's just what it is.
Yeah. So you're wanting to track the ball more than who's throwing it. You're wanting to watch and train your hands and eyes to react. So.
There's some awesome speed on that field too.
I believe it. So, but the previous caller, I will not give him the benefit of the doubt of talking about him because you kind of got talking to him, and we found out how dysfunctional his family is.
We found out why Digger pulls for the Texas Shorthorns.
Yeah. Anyway, but and they're crazy if they're out there at 3:00 in the afternoon practicing. Dude, did somebody not tell them today was going to be hot? So, it was hot over here in Georgia today, and I'm sure Texas was a little bit worse because it may not have been. I don't know, down there on the Gulf. I've not been to Texas ever, like the state. I want to go visit the state, but I'm staying away from Austin as far as I can, just because I want to say I've been out to Texas. I've been to Colorado. That was pretty, but as far as, I guess it's like the old song, "My home's in Alabama," wherever, and no matter where I lay my head, I'll get it out in a minute. But anyways,
hey, somebody just put us on a chat box out in Salt Lake City. Okay, this one's funny. Okay, it says Digger absolutely destroys the positive momentum of your show when he calls. Worse than Kamala Harris would, where she would call into the show. Utah Tide, you may win the message of the day.
Message of the day, right there.
Would. Was she able to call in? So, Kamala, we won't make you wait. If you call in, we'll get right to the top. But
now,
she doesn't do interviews with media, so it's
no. Something I like that. Of course, we've all seen, and you've talked to Coach, you've interviewed Coach. Something I seen that on a couple of the videos that actually had the audio was how he looks like a chill, relaxed guy. But when he's out there in coach mode, hey, he's like, hey, keep that elbow up. Hey, keep that ball up. Hey, he's in there with them. He's getting on to them. Not necessarily in a bad way, but he's telling them, hey, do this. Hey, do that. And I love that. And I love just seeing, it's what a coach is supposed to do, but it's almost like it's a little bit of a different side than what we've seen so far. Could you say that? Would you agree with that? It's that coach side of him. It's not that media side of him. And he's out there training these guys and telling them what to do and what not to do. All right,
go back to the video. Did you see the video that I put up with Coach DeBoer doing the ball security drill?
I did. He was smacking at him. I was like, good night.
But now we got to call Kalen DeBoer out when we have to. He was being easy on those quarterbacks, though. I mean, he was trying to knock it out of the running backs.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks, not so much. Not so much.
Right.
Yeah, he was.
Right.
He's kind of taking it easy on those quarterbacks.
Right.
Well, maybe they were in a
as-
no contact jersey. Maybe that was part of it.
Right, maybe. I mean, they do wear the black jerseys in practice. But as far as if Mr. Digger wants to, as you do every day at 5 o'clock, if he's still listening, wants to and hang around and listen to the great credentials of the University of Alabama, that is just why and how much better our school is than your school. And one more thing. I have a real problem. You say, what's that? Well, I'm fixing to run down and get some more delicious food from my local little restaurant that I love here in town. What Bama shirt do I wear? SEC championship, a former national championship. I mean, I've got
Well, okay. If I lived in that state, state, I would have that SEC title game one. I would have that one because
I really did.
But think about it. I mean, they were headed for 3 in a row that had never been done in college football. Never been done in college football.
They hit a crimson brick wall. They hit the crimson brick wall. But if Mr. Digger is listening, I could do it, but I'll allow, as Ryan always so graciously does it, runs through the credentials.
Well,
at 5 o'clock.
Texas is claiming something very simple. They beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and they are so happy. They're so happy.
Oh, my gosh. What was that? Coach Saban's 9th loss overall in Bryant-Denny? Something like that, wasn't it?
I don't know the number. Yeah.
I don't think he's in double-digit losses in Bryant-Denny. So, whoop-de-doo. Texas did something nobody else could do. Yippee, yippee, yay. Look who went to jail today. Whoops. Sorry, Georgia. But anyways, I'll leave it at that.
Something tells me you've practiced that.
Wait.
Something tells me you've practiced that, Georgia.
I did not. I promise. That just come right off the top of the head. That seriously came right off the top of the head. And I couldn't help it, okay?
Well, you know what? You can use that one. You can use that one. You can use that one. So
right. But anyways, hey, enjoy the rest of the show. You got an hour left. Run through those awesome credentials, or as what I would call them, to Digger. If you want to hear the Crimson Gospel, listen at 5 o'clock, Digger, and you'll hear what makes our school better than your school. Roll Tide.
Hey, right back to you, man. Thank you. We have 2 lines available, 205-342-9904, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Dan Byer.
Some breaking news from Major League Baseball as Angels general manager Perry Manassian says that outfielder Mike Trout has suffered another meniscus tear in his left knee. He is done for the season. More injury news in Southern California. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert will be in a walking boot for 2 weeks with an injury to the plantar fascia in his right foot. The Chargers believe that Herbert will be ready to start week 1 against the Raiders. Buccaneers made left tackle Tristan Wirfs the highest paid offensive lineman in the NFL. He signed a 5-year extension worth $140 million. Browns running back Deontay Foreman is expected to be released from the hospital today after suffering a neck injury in practice this morning. Veteran forward Gordon Hayward retiring after a 14-year career in the NBA. And at the Olympic Games, American gymnast Simone Biles grabbed gold in the women's all-around. Fellow American Suni Lee took home the bronze. U.S. women's basketball team beat Belgium 87-74.
Big Mike's downtown Moundville, only about 15 minutes from where I'm located. Also in Gunnersville, Alabama, Thomasville, Andalusia, Auburn, Alabama, Orange Beach. You'll find one of the best steaks in the state of Alabama, voted by the Alabama Cattlemen's Association and many other great publications recognizing the great ribeye, the seafood entrees. You'll find those, the great service.
Text DEAL to 511-511.
Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
Blue Spring Living Water is located in Blunt, Huntsville, Alabama, Blount County, about an hour north of Birmingham, Blue Spring Living Water is harvested and bottled from a centuries-old natural spring on a private family farm. Blue Spring is an all-natural water source that flows just under 1 million gallons a day. They have partnered with Waterway of Alabama, and they've been in the water delivery business for over 30 years to have Blue Spring living water delivered right to your home, right to your front door every month. New customers get their 5 jugs for $50, and the empties are exchanged every month for new ones. I know we have it at the Fowler household. We drink more water because of BlueSpringLivingWater.com. You can sign up at 205-602-3426. Talk to someone directly. Blue Spring Living Water can also be found Mark's Mark, downtown Northport, Publix, Piggly Wiggly, and in the southern part of our listing area, Rouse's Supermarket. BlueSpringLivingWater.com.
Rolling down a backwoods Tennessee byway, one arm on the wheel, holding my lover with the other, a sweet, soft southern thrill. Worked hard all week, got a little jingle on a Tennessee Saturday night. Couldn't feel better, I'm together with my Dixieland delight. Spend my dollar, park in a holler neath the mountain moonlight. Hold her up tight, make a little loving, a little turn it oven on a Mason-Dixon night. This is my life. Oh, so right, my Dixieland delight.
National titles, 30 SEC titles, 147 first-team All-Americans, 77 postseason appearances, 45 postseason victories, 4 Heisman winners, the all-time. Yesterday, Wyatt, I don't know if you realize this, but I ran through the wrong credentials. I said 177 postseason appearances. That would be a little impossible since we've been playing since 1892. I said 177. I said 145 victories. My mind, I guess, was in the gutter. It has been in the last couple of days. So,
it's still technically the offseason. Like you said, it's training camp. We're getting ready for it. We're getting back
if you don't do a little bit more Dixieland a lot if you can without getting in trouble. And I want to run through the credentials because I was hitting them correctly, but I reminded myself that I went through the wrong ones yesterday. 18 national titles, 30 SEC titles. Nobody has more. 147 first-team All-Americans. There's a few teams that have more than that. 4 Heisman winners. A few teams have more than that. The NCAA all-time scoring leader. No, we've got that one. The greatest football coaches to ever walk the sidelines. Oh, yeah, we've got that one. 77 postseason appearances. Nobody has more. 45 postseason victories. Nobody. Both of those NCAA all-time records. I mean, you know why they hate us? Because of those credentials. That's okay. We're always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota. TuscaloosaToyota.com, 3325 Skyler Boulevard, and online at TuscaloosaToyota.com. The great dealership, simply amazing when you look at everything that they're able to offer right there at Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. Let's take more phone calls. We'll get to Max over in Tupelo, Mississippi, Music Man, Larry in Georgia. That guy always brings the heat, man. It's always good. Bubba and Calera, we're going to get to you and the others right here at 205-342-9904. Kane Womack earlier today stood up at the media availability and talked a lot about his football team on the defensive side. Kalen DeBoer did yesterday. Nick shared it on Saturday. We'll have all the coverage, even though, we have 4 hours tomorrow on a free-for-all Friday sponsored by Brian Hard Construction. We'll be, White and I'll be grinding throughout the weekend, man. It's 9:30. We hope that Kalen DeBoer will talk on Sunday morning. Maybe he can bring a couple of scriptures for us that enjoy attending church services, but maybe he could, share a few scriptures with us. Sunday morning, I don't think I've ever covered us. No, I have. We used to do Sunday Media Day. Media Day. By the way, are we going to do Media Day this year? You remember we did Media Day? That was kind of a all-you-can-eat buffet. I mean, it's something Coach Saban did. And it was basically to say that he let his coordinators talk. And we always laughed because when the coordinators would talk, we always thought they had those shock collars on and deep down inside up underneath their shirt, because Lane Kiffin would be like, I just came from the coach's office. I mean, he educated me on everything I should say. And it was like Nick Saban's back there watching with a remote. Nope, no, don't you dare. Like the old goat man or whatever on Saturday Night Live, just... I believe I'd have a shot collar on Lane Kiffin too, man. Because
Kiffin and Kirby Smarter up there, they say something that gets a little into the weeds, and you just see them twitch real quick.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not supposed to say that. But hey, Kalen DeBoer does things. We're not complaining about the access. I mean, it's almost like a media day every day, right? I mean, it's busy. It's busy. We do not have practice tomorrow. You say, why so easy? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they felt sorry for us media guys and said we're not in shape. Going to do 2 days and then give us a little bit of a break, and then they'll be back on Saturday and Sunday, and then they'll break on Monday, and then they'll be back Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't think we have a Friday next week. I think it's straight up all the way through. Let's continue. Let's go to Max. Tupelo. Max, good afternoon. You're in the game. How are you, my friend?
Ryan, roll tide, buddy. I'm good, man.
Roll Tide.
Good to talk to you, man.
See, you have one of those nice roll ties. It's more of authoritative roll tide. It's not... sometimes my roll tide can be a little weak. I mean, like when you say roll tide, I mean, it sounds like, you want to hit somebody.
I do all the time, especially when I start thinking about Bama football. That was my passion as a child. That was what I wanted to do, was wear that crimson jersey. Just wasn't able to make those things happen. But so, yeah, that's where it comes from, directly from the heart where God put it.
Well, just think, if we'd have been a woke society, we could just claim to be an Alabama football player. You don't have to play it. Just claim it. I mean, heck, I might have been if I could have, but I mean, I promise you.
Yeah, you can claim to be a woman if you want to, right?
Well, back in the 70s and 80s, if we'd have claimed to do that and said, hey, listen, I want to be a, no, come on. I mean, yeah, I don't, Things had a way of working their way out, if you know what I mean. So,
well, I mean, I could claim to be the next national championship winning coach at Alabama, but that don't mean I am.
Yeah, well, I went in today to the credit union. I went in today to the credit union over Alabama Credit Union, 30 days away, and I said, I want to withdraw $1 million. And the lady said, she said, well, you don't have $1 million. I said, well, I'm claiming it.
That's discrimination. You better give me my $1 million.
Give me my $1 million. If you want to be something, just claim it, man. Man, we are a crazy bunch, are we not? I mean,
I love every one of you too, except for Digger and AC. Y'all can both go. Know where.
No, I mean, I'm talking about as a society, as a world. I mean.
I wouldn't crazy would not be the label.
When a dude can go and dress up and say he's a woman and go and fight in a boxing match in the Olympics and go win the gold medal.
The video. That is so terrible.
It was, well, they literally had to put the girl that he fought, real girl, they had to put her on a stretcher and take her.
Quit. She said that's the hardest she's ever been hit in her life, and the pain is not.
It must have been. Well, they put her on a stretcher. They put her on a medical stretcher and carried her out.
Am I allowed to call her she? Is that okay?
We need to ask her pronouns because that would be discriminating on your part, Max, that you're judging her pronouns because we don't know her pronouns. And so we must ask her pronouns before we can declare her pronouns.
Well, hell, Ryan. She may be confused, but now so are the rest of us.
Well, it's I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sarcastically making fun of it. I mean, to think about we'd walking around. Hey, can you run through your pronouns, Max? I mean, starting next week, we're going to have our producer ask everybody's pronouns where Ryan can refer to the caller on the air in the proper pronoun.
I'll never call your show again if somebody asks me what my pronoun is before y'all put me on the air. I swear to God, I won't.
I'll quit.
Yeah, that a boy.
So what is your preferred pronouns?
Really? Do you want me to hang up right now, Ryan?
No, I don't. I'm just teasing. I'm just having some fun. I mean,
you know what? You can call me a longhorn.
You got to embrace this crap. I mean, it's...
Yeah, you can call me a longhorn. How about that?
Like when I look on Twitter and I see people who put their pronouns on their Twitter bio, you don't have to tell me who you vote for because I already know. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's like I don't see any conservative dudes out there going, yeah, I'm a he, him. I mean,
here's my question though: how powerful does a group of people or a person have to be to make it to where that's okay in our country to be accepted? That's what you have to do, or that you do that. Think about that thought.
It's crazy. It's cray-cray, as my little niece always reminds me. She say, Uncle Ryan, that's cray-cray. Yeah, it is. It's cray-cray. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, we need a change real quick. Speaking of, while we're on this subject, Ryan, I think I mentioned to you about a shirt the other day. So I was going to let the callers know the guy's still having some shirts ordered that he can print them on. But it'll be a Roll Tide and Roll Trump shirt with the elephant in the center representing the Republican Party and, of course, the Alabama Crimson Tide. And y'all can get in touch with Ryan if you'd like a shirt.
Me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or me if you want to.
I mean, is this a commission job? I mean, is this a...
No, this is a support Bama, support Trump. I don't get I don't get anything off of it. You pay my same cost. I'm not trying to profit. I'm just trying to put the message out of Roll Tide, Roll Trump. You know what I'm saying? So if y'all want to, before you get on the air, you want a shirt, let Ryan know, and he can give you my number.
Okay.
As long as you're cool with that, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's maybe Facebook.
I'm not profiting anything.
Max, are you on social networks at all?
No, I can't stand it. Hate it. Every one of them.
Okay. I was about to say, people send me a Facebook message. So I got to have a design of the shirt, too. And we got to be careful because Alabama will probably send us a cease and desist letter if it involves the Alabama brand. So we got to.
Oh yeah, maybe.
We got to be careful, and here I know I'll be doing push-ups in the name, image, and likeness office. I mean, they say give me 10, it might take me all day.
Right.
So, hey Max, well, what you've heard about this Alabama practice? Okay.
All right. So I did want to get to that, and I won't waste any time talking about Ash Digger like Josh did, but I do appreciate Josh's sentiments and what he said and agree with everything he said because Digger takes up enough of all these great callers' times. But I did have something to say about it, but I'm not going to. What I'm thinking, Ryan, is, Corey Miller, I've heard him say it a bunch of times that he don't think we have basically the horses in the stable as far as in the wide receiver room. I think that I've got a different opinion. I think we do. I think they're underutilized. Reese poorly underutilized our quarterback and our wide receivers. I think there's a lot of physical ability there. And this coaching staff and this style, it'll be like if you kept Seabiscuit in the barn for 2 months and now let him out. And I think it's the same thing with the defense. This style, this scheme for John Q. fan that don't understand schemes, this 4-2-5 is simplified, and it pretty much lets an athlete be an athlete. And I'm particularly talking about the edge rushers. And we've got them. Quay Russaw, Q Robinson, Keeley, Renaud, all of those guys, when it's a simplified system and they don't have to think very much, those younger players that are really, really athletic, they don't have to get acclimated as fast. They just let them go. And I think that's what's going to happen. And I think you're going to see our athleticism shine. this year. I really do. And I think Milroe is going to blow up.
He's throwing it with a lot different confidence than I've seen him in quite a while. I think Tommy Rees just about broke him, and I'm not saying from a confidence standpoint, but Jalen just didn't play with confidence. The skill set was there.
He was not being used the right way, and absolutely the skill set was there. And the skill set's in the wide receiver room too, man. And then you add these young kids like Odom and Williams. Dude, I think, and I'm trying to take my crimson-colored glasses off and sit here and look at it with just college football knowledge that I've acquired for 43 years of watching it. I think the potential's there for something special, even though we got a really brutal schedule. If these boys catch on to what DeBoer's teaching and what Kane Womack's teaching and the system, we've got the pieces in place to do something special. No doubt.
Sounds very promising, man. When you talk to the people inside that building, there's a lot of electricity, it's a positive vibe. And, you say, well, hold on, that really doesn't get you across the finish line, but I can tell you what a negative one does. I can tell you what 2010 did. It was a pretty talented football team right there, man.
Oh, yeah, maybe the most talented we've ever had.
So...
And I have to believe that this offense, dude, when I looked at that offensive line last year before the season started, I was like, man, this may be the most gifted offensive line I have ever seen at Bama in my 43 years of being there. And it's pretty much still the same other than, well, that one piece which we needed, and I think this guy's an extreme upgrade, and I won't mention any names because that was a young man, and I'm not going to pile on young men trying to play center. But anyway, I think this offensive line is going to be really, really good. And we got the running backs behind him. And, I mean, you got a quarterback that can pretty much be a running back, quarterback, whatever you want him to be, right there with him. I think we're going to be really dangerous.
I think we have a chance to be. And, the one thing that kind of jumped out to me as you go to the defensive guys over there, do I think we can be 2011? No. Do I think we can be 2016? No. Do I think we can be? No, probably not in college football. Do I think we can be serviceable? You better believe it. Yes. Yes, I do.
Yeah. Dude, all right. I think you said it a couple months ago. If we can have a top 10 D, which I think we're going to.
Yeah, I even think a top 10. Listen, I think if you this first year, let's say you can get in the top 30, and you've got offense that.
We were 21st or something last year.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look.
We were in the 20s.
In total defense, you ranked 17 or 18.
Okay, all right.
You base it on yards per game, or y'all? What are y'all doing?
Total D is what I was looking at.
Let's go total D.
The NCAA total defense. South Alabama was 15. Alabama was 18.
So
you had to throw that in there, didn't you?
It's the point that I hammer on some other shows as well.
I mean, it's.
I know.
Well, okay, so 18.
But isn't the guy that's running our defense? Wasn't he the head coach of South Alabama?
No, he was.
Year?
Sure, he went on the. Yeah, he went on the road.
Oh, get in there.
All right, so that's why he's throwing it out there. All right, so let's go to yards per play because I almost like that metric a little bit more because it's not about yards per game. All right, let's just go. Oh, look at there. All right, so South Alabama's 22. Alabama's 22. We gave up the same yards per play as South Alabama did. And so we were
right, and now we got that coach and better talent.
We were 22nd in the country. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go to scoring defense. I also like that one too because, that's just points per game.
That one's the big one if you ask me.
We were 16th in the country. Where was South Alabama? You'd expect that number to be a little bit higher because 27th. But 27th for the team that they played.
Yeah, if you look at some of the offenses we played, yeah, absolutely. But this year, we got a rougher schedule. But
maybe this Kane Womack guy is not as bad as some of our other colleagues think.
No, dude, I think he's going to be great, and I love the idea.
I didn't say callers. I said colleagues.
Yeah. Well, I think he's going to be great because of his system fits the athletes that we have now. That's the key to everything that a lot of John Q fans don't understand. Your system fitting the guys that you got.
Yeah, great point.
And I think it will fit these guys because we got a lot of guys like James Smith, Wade Rusall, guys like that are young, that are extremely gifted. If you just put them in the right system and let them start.
You're fine. You're fine. Well, hey, Max, we'll just let you go right there, man. Thank you again for your phone call. And, hey, if our defense has that type of bark, we're going to be all right.
I think so, man. I think Kane Womack's he's the right guy. I'm not saying Saban's system was wrong. It won us 6 national championships and 9 SEC titles. But sometimes change is good as long as it's not putting men in women's bathrooms. You know what I'm saying?
Roll Tide. Thanks, Max.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. We'll continue with more Music Man, Larry in Georgia, Bubba in Clear, Chris in Florence. We'll get to all of you guys next. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The manager of a Tuscaloosa restaurant made an apology after admitting to using a racial slur. Now, the Tuscaloosa NAACP has acknowledged the public apology and has called for specific actions. Read more at TuscaloosaThread.com. And as the month of August kicks off, it's also one of the prime hurricane season development timeframes. We are closely watching a tropical wave that has the potential to become a tropical depression and what that means for Alabama. And a new business alert happening this weekend as the new-to-market Cookie Plug Bakery opens on McFarland Boulevard in Northport.
Get 24/7 local news coverage and sports updates when you download the free Tuscaloosa Thread app and sign up for twice daily email newsletters. Tide 100.9 Traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, we're not doing too bad out there right now. Usual slow-ups on the usual area freeways and side streets. So McFarland Boulevard, of course, fits that criteria. And that's on the westbound lanes at Watermelon Road. You got a long line of delays. It takes you back to Rice Mine Road Loop. Also, Lurleen.
Or you can shop online at TuscaloosaCDJR.com. At Tuscaloosa Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, you pick it out and we'll work it out. Roll Tide.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
This afternoon, we're under a heat advisory till 9 p.m. this evening. Temperatures climbing to 97 under partly cloudy skies. A few isolated storms pushing southeast out of the area. Tonight, mostly clear skies, the low near 77. Then tomorrow will be mostly sunny and hot. Highs topping out near 98 degrees with heat advisories likely needed again. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
Where college football season never ends.
All right, let's go to Music Man, Larry in Georgia. Larry, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Hello, old friend. Man, what a song. What a song to follow. Nirvana. Who's on the board today?
That'd be Wyatt. Wyatt.
Wow. Kurt Cobain and Entertainment. Oh, don't even get me to go there. It's been a while. I see my old buddy.
We heard some rumors.
Bama Nick stole my song. No, just kidding.
Oh, he did?
How many people have an intro song on this show? Only Bama Nick. The crowds.
But now we heard a rumor, and I want to see if you're
all right. Go ahead, hit me between the eyes.
Okay,
I can take it. All right,
you ready?
I'm ready.
We heard that you were out campaigning with Kamala.
Boy, I thought that was Texas Tony. It's Bama Nick. No, I ain't been doing that.
You haven't been out there campaigning.
Let me tell you what happened today. Now my schedules. I've been doing special needs drum lessons for special needs children.
Super cool.
And yeah, I'm the music man. That Gary Harris gave me that title. I do a little segment every Friday. You know, that's just the Friday weekend is here. So I started doing that on Alabama musical history, which I'll be calling in tomorrow if anybody wants to listen. I've been highlighting history, the rich history of music in the state of Alabama, not just sports. It all goes together. But, I put my flag out today. Roll Tide and got my Trump flag. And people been riding by slow because I'm going to tell you, I think I'm the only Alabama fan in this block. I've always thought that, but it don't matter. Nobody stole it yet, so.
Well, that's a good start.
But I'm ready to get back in the mix, and I hope Bama Nick puts me back in the top 5.
Well, we'll have to check with Bama Nick and see exactly where you're at. I mean, he did mention you a couple of days ago, but you were on the possibility of losing a couple of points. But
I know, and he said he was going to break up with me, and I said, no, we can't do that. I'll fix it. So here I am. And I wanted to say something about the Trogs. They had 3 big hits. Okay. And I started playing drums in 1966 in junior high school, and they had a song called Wild Thing. You make my heart sing.
That was the Trogs?
They had a number one. Yeah, they had a number one.
Whoa. Hold on. Wyatt, play this. Hold on. Never mind. I don't want to get us in trouble. But
Billy Idol re-recorded it, I think, made a hit on it.
Okay, but next break, we're going to play that. That is really the Trogs?
Okay. And y'all have, Wyatt has played this song, or somebody, Love Is All Around. I feel it in my fingers. I feel it in my soul. Da, da, da. Beautiful. They had 3 big hits in 66 and 67. Wild Thing was a $1 million seller. Wild Thing, you move me. It was quite anyway. Yeah, Bama Nick was on spot. Now, he knows his music. That's kind of how he and I connected. And let me tell you something, too. I want to go a little music, then I got a song for Digger. We built the city on rock and roll, Jefferson Starship.
Okay.
I played with the singer, the vocalist, Mickey Thomas. I played with him in 1971 in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
For a year. He got his break with Elvin Bishop after we disbanded and did Fools Around and Fell in Love, which was a huge number 1 hit. Then he got with Jefferson Starship and had multiple, built the city on rock and roll, Jane. He's from Cairo, Georgia. But I wanted to throw that in there because every time Wyatt plays that, my blood pressure goes up. So, but I'm back. I want to contribute.
I know it sounds like you've already got a contract with Gary. Is Gary paying you?
No, it's just something that happened.
Well, but
what happened?
Sounds like we might put you in charge of the bumper music. I mean, it sounds like
let me do that because I can bring the music. Now, listen, I keep my app on all day. When I was going to drum lessons, it was the end of Miller's Edge, but I would listen to you. And some of the students' dads, they're dog fans. I'd go over there with my Alabama hat on. They'd say, well, he's in there listening to some show. And I'd be giving them lessons, but I'd have my bud, anyway. It didn't hurt the lessons, but it's hard being a Bama fan around here, but they're out there. You just got to find them, believe me. Like Bama Nick, you got Josh. I want to ask you something. Last year, this guy was calling. His name was Joshua. He was dogging Milrow all the time.
Joseph.
Whatever happened to him? Was it time for him to call? I had knee surgery and I wanted to throw my crutches.
Joseph called in the day after Alabama lost to the Michigan Wolverines.
I remember that. I remember that.
Well, I got into it pretty good with him. We haven't heard from him in a while.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I got confused. I thought it was Josh in Georgia. I made a mistake, son.
No. Yeah.
It was Joseph.
Yeah.
He would call. He called in after we lost to Michigan. I remember that, didn't
he? He did.
I hope he don't. Listen, Digger's Digger, but I got a song for him. The Long Call Texan came out in the 60s by Murray Kellum. Wyatt can look it up, and he needs that intro song. It goes like, I'm a long, tall Texan. I come from Texas on a big white horse. He comes from Texas on a big white horse. And when people look at me, they say, oh, Ro, is that your horse? The whole song is that. It's crazy. But it was a big hit in the 60s. And every time Digger comes on, I think of that long, tall Texan. Anyway, I'm getting strung out here.
Music Man, you brought a lot of good heat here to us. All right, so
I'm going to bring it in. It won't be just music. I'd like to contribute just a little segment here on music. Alabama's rich in music history, man. It's unreal. Not just, we got, Alabama Crimson Tide. And anyway, I'm just going to be calling in. I wanted to make my debut today and hope Bama Nick puts me back in at least the top 7 or 6. I don't know. I hope he does.
We'll have to check with him tomorrow or later today. We got about 25 minutes. You never know. But hey, Music Man, it's good to hear you, and Roll Tide to you, man.
I'll be calling Roll Tide and Wild Thing. You make my heart sing. Tell him to look it up.
All right, thanks. Wyatt's going to play it. Wyatt's going to play it. We're going to dedicate that to you. Bubba and Clear, we're going to get to you in 2 minutes. T-Town, Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. Rumsey Environmental, a one-stop shop serving West Alabama for all of your waste removal needs. If you're in the construction business, take a little bit of stress out of your life. The construction debris removal containers customized to fit your job site, the portable toilet service, the storage containers to protect your valuables. It's Rumsey Environmental for that complete waste removal service. When you
deal or text DEAL to 511-511.
Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
El Gran is the great Mexican place in Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Go over and see my friends Carlos, 205-391-4555, 62 McFarland Boulevard, Monday through Thursday from 11 until 9:30, Friday and Saturday 11 until 10:30, Sunday also open 11 until 9. You'll find the great daily lunch specials. You'll find great entrees, including the great fajitas, great desserts. The kids menu, always welcome. The call-ahead orders as well. El Gran on McFarland Boulevard. You'll find it at Winn-Dixie.
Think I love you, but I want to know for sure.
All right, let's continue with more phone calls right here in Tuscaloosa. Med Center Urgent Care Family Medicine, MedCenterUrgentCare.com, MedCenterUrgentCare.com. Let's go to Bubba in Calera. Bubba, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Things are good. How's good as you, friend?
Man, I did not do that. I promise that was not me. I know it sounded like me, but Bubba, that was not me. So it's been a long time. I heard his voice for about 15 seconds, and then he drifted away. Let's continue with more phone calls. Maybe this is Bubba. I'll hold off here just for a second. We'll continue with more. I do remind you about Nuke's Eatery, 205 University Boulevard, 205-758-2455. The French dip sandwich, back right now for a limited time. Chicken salad, always there. Pimento cheese, the California-style pizzas, the great salads. You'll find our good folks right there at 205 University Boulevard, close enough that you can smell the championships. All right, Bubba, we couldn't hear you there, but maybe you can get back in. That's somebody different. Let's go to Chris in Florence. Chris, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well. Hey, Chris. Oh, I wonder if that was on our end. All right, let me try that. Let's go. Let's try it. Okay, no Jared. Excuse me, no Chris. Let's try Jared in Dallas. Jared, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Hey, man.
How are you?
I am okay. I just called. I finally had a snootful today and kind of went on a rant with some non-Bama folks, and I was just going to see if it met your approval.
Okay, yeah, I can approve all rants.
Okay.
I can do it.
Okay, so here's how it went. So at the gym this morning, and this is a Michigan guy, Texas guys, Houston Cougars. Anyways, there's a bunch of us. Dallas is a pretty good big mixing pot, right? And so as I'm walking out of this certain space, I said, well, man, we just wondering what's going to happen with Bama this year. Get the same old thing, Bama's falling apart. And I just was like, you know what? I can't deal with this anymore. And I turned around and I said, just listen to me very carefully. Bama's going to be just fine. Bama's always going to be just fine. It's what we do. We just win, and we're going to keep on winning, okay? And then the Michigan guy piped up and said, well, it didn't – how'd that go at the end of last year? I said, listen to me, man. We got 18 of those things to polish and look at all the time, okay? And we'll get more of those too. And then the Texas guy piped up, and I said, shouldn't you be at home watching the Olympics? Because I'm sure you got a lot of alumni that are in synchronized swimming or something.
Oh,
right
yeah.
now, huh?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And I left it at that, and they all just kind of giggled, and I kind of giggled and walked off. And I thought about that as Digger was talking earlier. Shouldn't he be watching diving or something right now?
Well, that's synchronized. Yeah. That's more their speed. Football's really not a thing for them. I mean, they've won one national title in 54 years. So,
yeah. Well,
but
anyway.
but you heard Digger call in, and we found out why he.
Oh Lord, yes.
He was a little rebellion kid, and he just could not go. He wanted to be something different than his parents. Parents said, "No, go put that Aggie shirt on." No, I ain't put it on. I'm not putting that Aggie shirt on.
Let me tell you that you know what? Honestly, it explains so much. You finally got to it, Ryan. You finally unraveled it. You finally peeled back the layers of that onion and got to the heart of it. I mean, you're talking about somebody who was mother's an Aggie, families that are LSU fans, and then he's a Texas guy. There's not a therapist on earth can help with that.
Well, not all.
Not.
Yeah. I mean, but not all of us can be privileged to pull for the University of Alabama. I mean, you know what I mean? I look back and I want to thank my parents. My parents have been gone I lost my mom 3 or 4 years ago. My dad probably 20 years ago. I just thankfully that I had good parents, because if I'd have refused to be that little rebellion kid, I wouldn't have slept in my dad's household. I can promise you. I couldn't have that little option. No way.
Yeah. Hey, you know, also everybody's talking about this. Everybody's putting in their 2 cents about what they think the year's going to. I'm not worried about this year. That's kind of what I was telling those guys this morning. I'm not worried about this year. For some reason, I am very comfortable with what we have. The defensive backs don't really even worry me. They really don't. I think we got plenty of speed. I think we're fine. You know, I think we're fine across the board. I don't have any need to panic.
And the defensive back, when you go out there and see those guys, you're like, I think one of our big problems, Jared, is we're so accustomed to what it wins in college football. We are so accustomed to what happens, right? I mean, we think, okay, this is what wins. And we've been conditioned to think this is what it takes to win. College football's changed. Jared, I'll give you the great example. I know I've said this, I'm blue in the face. Last year's team had no business in the college football playoffs.
I agree with that.
Now, listen, was I thankful we were there? Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Did we deserve to be there? I mean, we did beat Georgia, but that's what's happened. The barometer has changed. It's changed right here in front of our eyes.
Did you go to? And I've caught bits and pieces today. Did you go to practice this morning?
I did.
Were you guys at practice?
I did.
I know you can't say a whole lot, but what did you say about it?
No, I mean, I've said a ton. They'll allow us. Those off-record conversations is what I can't talk about.
Yeah.
So, and then what's so crazy? Sometimes they'll tell you stuff off-record, you already know it, and then they tell you off-record. Well, then you can't share it because they were told off-record, and the minute you say it, even though you knew it, so you kind of have to dance around a little bit. But when you look back at practice, high energy. There is. Yesterday was Kalen DeBoer. Today we get a chance to talk to players. We got a chance to talk to Mo Linguist. We got a chance to talk to Kane Womack. High energy. There's a different vibe. And, Rodney Orr is a very conservative media guy.
Yeah,
very conservative media guy, okay? He even said it. And by the way, I just saw Isaiah Bond. I mean, this is Texas for you right here. Isaiah Bond just now released that he has a new NIL deal with Lamborghini. Are you kidding me?
Speaking of receivers, how How did the big freshman look? What's his name? He's tight end. They're going to make him receiver.
Caleb Odom. Caleb Odom. Yeah.
Odom. Yeah. How's he looking out there?
Yeah, stud. I mean, he's going to be a mismatch. He's going to be a nightmare. But let me go back to Rodney. Rodney brought it up, and he said, there just seems to be a different feeling out there. Yeah, I mean, it's a new coach. Rightfully so, it's a different feeling, but it's more than just that. There's an energy that I haven't seen in some time.
Awesome.
I mean, awesome. So go to Vegas, bet on this team.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, man. Well, I just wanted to pipe in a little bit and check in with you, brother.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
All right. Roll Tide.
Jared in Dallas. Let's try Bubba in Calera. Bubba, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Third time's a charm, I hope, my friend.
Yeah, you sound good. I mean, you sounded good a couple of seconds ago, and I was like, oh, man. And then boom. Yeah.
Yeah, it happened.
It's been too long. It's been too long.
I'm telling you. I don't think I've talked to you since we hired the new coach.
Yeah, we heard rumors. We heard rumors. We don't know if they were true or not.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I'm excited about the guy. I think he's going to do great. Of course, I know all that's been covered, but I think we're going to have a good season. I know people want us to fail. That's always going to happen. But, we're going to be a lot better than people think we are. And probably the most exciting thing for me is Jalen Milroe, because I've heard some great things when he went to that Manning Passing Academy. It seems like kids that go there come out just a whole new player.
Well, because you get instruction, but you also get the mental side of it too.
That's the big thing. And I remember, one big thing Nick always preached on, and I felt like that's where he needed to work on, was just consistency. Everybody talks about he could hit the deep pass, and he could, but there were some deep passes that he missed, and he struggled with the intermediate passes, and he did. If he can put all that together, the mental aspect and thinking the game, the kid's going to be unstoppable. He's just got to be able to do it for 4 quarters every game. That's where it comes into play, the mental toughness that has to last all year. So that's basically what I'm looking for. But everything I've heard, of course, I'm just hearing stuff like you are that, I'm really excited. And the offensive line, when's the last time we've had a dominant offensive line? 2012? And I mean dominant. Like, we just blew people off the ball. Like, we've had some good ones, but it seems like here in the past few years, we've kind of not been bad, but we've kind of fallen off. Hadn't been like, we were getting the players, but they wouldn't, living up to expectations or whatever you want to call it. That's something else I'm looking forward to. I want an offensive line that's you got to protect the passer, but I still want to blow people off the ball. And as much as Kalen DeBoer's known for his offense, I think he's going to run the ball when he needs to. He'll lean on that offensive line, I hope, because I'm hearing good stuff about that line too. But everything I'm hearing, like we all are.
Great coordinators are flexible enough to adjust to the personnel that they have. And I think he's an elite play caller, and I think he would be crazy not to utilize these backs. I mean, you've got Jace McClellan, you've got Jam Miller. And then you also have Justice Haynes.
Yeah.
That's a really, really good 1-2 punch. Really good 1-2. I mean, that's solid.
Well, I wonder if people understand how good that's going to be. I mean, do they do? But, you're talking, like Derrick Henry and C.J. Yeldon in the backfield. 2 just solid backs that can just bring so much to the table. If one comes out, you can't rest and think the backup's coming in, whoever the backup is, because that dude's going to run you over too and run circles around you. And it's just everything he's put together for this team. I'm just excited, and I'll admit I'm one of those. I'm kind of glad about the first 2 games. It gives us a chance to kind of ease into the new. You get the new format, everything's changed, new coaching staff. It gives you a chance for some hiccups. Some bad plays, some coaching mistakes here and there, and even player mistakes. And then you get Wisconsin. That's a good test. And then of course Georgia, it speaks for itself these days. So of course they're down a player now, which was crazy, but yeah, so I'm excited about the season. I think it's going to start off, and we'll know by the 4th game. By the end of that Georgia game, we're going to know exactly what we got. So, and then it'll just be a chance to build on that. So, but I'm excited, and I think we're going to have a really good year. Now, I can't remember. Didn't we sign a kicker from another school somewhere?
Oh, yeah. We got the number one kicker. Okay, so we had Will Reichard, which we thought deserved to be the Lou Grossa Award winner. I mean, he broke the all-time NCAA all-time scoring leader. And the guy that beat him out was the guy that's now in Tuscaloosa, Graham Nicholson.
That's right. Well, that's good because, as Alabama fans, we've been through the ups and downs before. So we know what it's like to not have a kicker, So, and that's, and it's funny. People say that, Alabama's Alabama. We're always going to be good. And we are. We're fine. But, there's some of us that are old enough to remember some dark days, before Nick Saban got
I know it, man.
It's just, look, we'll always have good teams. Even Mike DuBose won an SEC championship, but the next year he showed he just couldn't handle it for the long run. And then, Franchione showed everybody what a quitter was. And of course, Mike Price never coached a game. And then Shula's the nicest guy in the world, but he was so nice. We lost 5 against Auburn with him. It's just, there's things that can happen, but for some reason, I don't see that with this guy. If I'm not mistaken, every time this guy gets a head coaching job, his first year there, he makes it's not like a little turnaround, a huge turnaround. Like I think Washington and the team before that, if I remember right, before he got there, they had won like 3 or 4 games. And his first year there, he had turned them around to like 10, 11 wins.
He did. And he beat Texas in the bowl game. So, hey, Bob, I got to get to this break, man. I'm out of time. I appreciate you as always.
Always good to talk to you. Take care.
We'll continue with more. We'll get the last duck through the hole next. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A fender bender on McFarland moving southbound just north of University Boulevard. Not causing a big to-do in that immediate area, but where you definitely have your slow goes is McFarland westbound onto, you guessed it, Watermelon Road. So that's got you very tight. Back to Rice Mine Road. Moving on early
service and an easy buying experience.
Come shop with Mercedes-Benz of Tuscaloosa, 3200 Skyland Boulevard East, or online at Mercedes-of-Tuscaloosa.com.
The longest running sports show, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
A couple of minutes right here left. Let's see if we can squeeze in 2 callers. AC, yeah, that's best call you've ever made. Thank you, AC. Ellis, good afternoon. You're in the game. Don't you think that was AC's best call?
Yes. Awesome call, Ryan.
Awesome call, AC. Awesome call.
Awesome call.
Yeah. We're having
Oh, man. I was just looking back at last year, and I'm looking at something right now when Alabama and Georgia was at the SEC championship game. Fan vote, it was 60% fans voted Georgia to win the game. And when Pat McAfee sung some kind of Auburn song,
Georgia song.
And then after he got through doing it, he said, "Give me Alabama."
That's right. Take Alabama.
Yeah.
And
I was there. I was there at that.
Just like Jalen Milrose said, you can't go against Bama. You can't go against Bama. You can't go against Bama. All right, I got to get out of here.